got that tractor beam out of commission, or this is going to be a real short trip. Okay, hit it!
Hey, how's it going?
It's going good, man.
Welcome to group therapy. This is one of very few group therapies without Steve. Steve's he's visiting family in Florida, I think it's Florida. Yep. And so yeah, it's Jason and I tonight, and then I think we're gonna have Cece jumping on in a minute here, a little bit. She said she might be a tiny bit late, and then maybe Rob. Rob
may or may not. I'm not sure. It's the time difference. There's always a potential.
It's so late there.
Yeah, and it's understandable that if at 2:30 if he doesn't make it, he doesn't make it. And I think in a little bit also we might have I think we're going to. It's just a matter of when. Maybe within a half hour or so, we'll have Justin and Ethan will join us for a quick chat as well, to discuss the Merlin model's fire spray. So it's a little different. We're not gonna be on for hours. We don't have a bunch of segments of topics chopped out. It's gonna kind of be like an open format chat, just kind of what's going on, and we can scroll some links. There is some news, but I felt like it's kind of been all over the place. We've been talking about that a little bit. We've been very specific with group therapies with respect to how Steve does it, because he does such a great job at how he presents group therapy. The format in which we have specific things that we go over. Tonight, it's just more of a casual, sort of laid back version where we're just gonna, again, talk open format. I mean, there's things going on, but not a ton of stuff. And
Well, and if there's anything you guys want us to chat about, if you'd like, if you'd like us to comment on anything, throw it in the chat, and we'll see if we can chat. We can talk about whatever, because it really is. It's just we were kind of like, Steve was like, hey, look, we can kind of cancel it and move it to, the next week after, or the week after, whatever. And we were kind of like, you know what, let's just do it and hang out, because why not? So, hey, Cece.
Hey.
And see, look, we can do this. We can put a little music behind us with a little StreamYard action going on.
Happy Friday.
Look at this, dude.
Did I miss
we can do
the intro explaining what the show is?
Yeah, we missed. Yeah, because we didn't do it.
Are we actually going to be talking about releases, or?
We'll go over a few things, yeah.
I don't know. You can talk about anything you want with this music.
This is the equivalent of, like, how when you have a substitute teacher, so it's not like a serious, like
we just wheeled in the TV.
Yeah, you just have fun. So.
Dude, this is it right here, dude. You can talk about anything with this binding. No, this is interesting. We've never used this because StreamYard lets you do this, but I'm trying to figure out why you would do this. I mean,
so I fit on unboxings,
and people use it on unboxings,
because I think a lot of it tends to be dead space if no one's asking you questions while you're opening stuff.
Totally.
Not this song, but there's other ones that are a little, like, especially it's more like white noise. Like, you could lower it so that it's like very faint in the background.
Yeah.
My hair looks dumb. But sorry I'm late. I just ran back from having dinner with a friend.
No, you're good.
This is the like bedtime-y music.
Yeah, dude. Listen to this shit. Oh man, and just
it's a
bit. You know what's interesting, Matt? You know what I realized just recently?
Tell me.
So, like with regards to something like this specifically, I didn't realize how many people watch shows like this, right, on their television. So sometimes I'll watch these YouTube shows.
Oh, sure.
On my 50-inch screen, and it made me realize that, like, when we're in this sort of bubble, right, when we're on looking at the format that we're looking at versus the viewer, it's different for us. I notice sometimes, like when I'm doing the model shows with Chris, and he's got like the chat thing open, and it's got like all my personal info and images, and You don't realize it when that's on a 50-inch screen.
Yeah,
that's
sure.
so accessible to the world, and it's like, but yeah, just some of the, like the background music, the noises. I never really took that into consideration before until I saw it happening when I was watching it.
Well, it's interesting because like it's been weird. Jason, we've talked about this lately. We've slowed down on purchasing a lot. And that's mainly because we're being a lot more selective with what we're picking up these days.
Correct.
And so we're just we don't have a lot to unbox.
Maybe
we don't
you
do
guys
a lot of unboxing
for yourselves, because
are you getting a lot of stuff, Cece?
It's funny, like talk about pickups or whatever, I guess. I don't, it shipped today. I'll probably get it next week, but I just bought original art. That actually, I sent it to you guys, that Kylo Ren.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's Jason Edmondson. I did buy that.
Oh, nice. Crazy.
Yeah.
That's really
cool.
And you just got your Boba Fett, right?
Yes. Which we're going to unbox maybe?
Yeah, I think we should. That'd be great.
Show that and talk about it.
Not?
And then I don't remember if I talked about this 2 weeks ago, last show. If I was even on the last show, or was I sick? I ordered
I don't think you're on the last show.
Yeah, I ordered that Two-Face statue. Mind you, that's not Star Wars, but
oh, that's cool though.
Yeah, the tweeter head.
Dude, tweeter head is so good. I feel like people sleep on tweeter head a lot, and I don't know why.
Yeah, that Joker was really good that they did, though people are pissed because I guess yesterday it kind of accidentally came out that, no, not accidentally. I think they sent it in like a newsletter to people subscribed to their newsletter, that the Batman they're doing is only going to be 1/6. They're not doing it in, I think it's because technically Sideshow has the license for quarter scale. So if Tweeterhead does any statue that's quarter scale, it's because Sideshow said they can do it.
Yeah.
So that's why they did like the two different Jokers. But yeah, I don't know. But then LBS is doing a lot of really exciting stuff. They're doing a Batman. They're doing a Wonder Woman. They just showed renders of.
Mm-hmm.
They're planning on doing at least the Trinity. So I guess Superman will be next.
Okay.
And very like Alex Ross inspired. But I bought that Jason Edmondson original. I bought 2 small originals. I bought an art print. And then I think that's it. I'm talking to 2 artists about commissions. I have some stuff I'm waiting to get framed. So I got that Phantom Menace back from getting framed. The black and white one with the gold.
Nice.
So
I will say I did get one thing. Let me see if I can pull it out. Hold on 1 second.
There was a couple interesting things I wanted to pull up randomly during the show too, Matt. I know you were wondering like what specifically to go over, but
all right.
There's a few
I
things.
don't think you heard that.
What?
I was saying I know we were talking about like not having the normal format of like A, B, C, D, but there are a few things I wanted to go over during the show that just news that I saw that I thought was kind of interesting. And, kind of get some thoughts on it from other people.
Well, real quick, one thing I got in was this.
Oh, nice. Is it the vinyl?
Yeah. There you go.
Okay.
You can see that a little bit better. So it's called Light Magic, and I don't actually know what it is. I just got it because it was on Mondo, and I was like, I got to get this thing because it has.
So it's basically, you remember the Disney Plus?
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah, it's. I think it's just that in audio format.
It's really cool. Like everything is just pretty awesome, though. I doubt I'll ever listen to this thing, to be honest, but I just wanted to grab it anyway.
It's a great looking vinyl. I ended up ordering it too, so
it's so cool.
If it hasn't arrived already, it should be en route.
Yeah.
I have a bunch of random things coming in only because I've been working on a lot of different projects.
Yeah.
I've been working on a lot of different hilts, and I was able to secure a couple more pieces on that, which is interesting. finishing up a few more models as always working on those type of things. But yeah, you're right. As far as like big purchases, they're just not really as they're a little bit more far and few in between. And it's not even like, yes, there's the aspect of being more selective, but also things aren't coming out as quickly as they used to come out.
Yeah. I mean, but there's a whole. I mean, there's
times a year, certain times of the year where you have an influx of things versus other times. And
yeah, but we're also not picking up hot toys as much.
Yeah,
and, even statues. I mean, there's still like, look, there was the which is fantastic. I'm like losing track of my. I can't. I can't even think about it with this music. But I recently saw, Jason, I mentioned this to you, the sideshow Yoda, what is it, 1/3? 1/3 statue?
Is that the legacy scale?
Yeah. It's been coming.
Scale, isn't it?
People have been getting it, and it looks fantastic. I mean, that's probably something that I would have jumped all over a year or two ago, but now I'm trying to be super, super selective. So like, there's stuff like that I'm not picking up, but it's beautiful. And then, but we will be doing some unboxings coming up at some point. I mean, obviously, Cece, you're going to unbox yours tonight, but I'm going to probably, I mean, I don't know if the gaffy stick makes sense to unbox. It's so simple, but we could possibly do that. There's also the Tuscan, what's it called? Bust that's coming in from,
You guys have an ETA on that? Because I'm kind of surprised it's taking so long.
No, I don't know.
It's funny. The only thing I know that just shipped besides that art I just bought in the prints is which I can show off the art. That'll be easy. It's a small one. The Prime 1 Talon, so another Batman statue that doesn't make real sense for a Star Wars show. Another thing that's not Star Wars that I got. So I saw the newest Guardians of the Galaxy, and
how'd you like it?
I liked it. I'm glad everyone and their mother said that it had sad scenes because it kind of like prepared me for that.
I've heard that.
But lately, just in general, I think because of a lack of wall space, and B, I think like I've embraced the I hate using the word fangirl, but I've embraced being a fan, and I'm like looking for stuff that's like kind of on the smaller side.
You're fangirl Guardians? Is that what you're saying?
Guardians and others. So like the reason why I mentioned Guardians first is because Matt Ferguson did these business cards.
Oh, cool.
And so they're small.
That's cool, though. That's cool.
That's Yondo.
Who's
Manta?
Is this? Oh, okay, Manta. Yeah, I see it.
So I think this was it Guardians 1 then? Well, because Manta was in 2. That's Drax.
It's 2. It's 2 because Yondu was in 2 as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nebula. So I've seen people get these framed and they look really nice. Like they'll get them matted so they're kind of like all in the same frame.
It's really cool. Are they thick? Is it like card stock type of like?
Yeah, it's. I mean, you won't be able to tell, but it's not like.
Yeah, I see it.
Star-Lord.
Oh, that's cool.
Groot.
Huh. That's funny.
Groot. Someone has just Groot on eBay for a lot of money. Don't do it. It's really stupid. And then Rocket. But they have like nice, so they're almost like mini prints. Like
yeah.
To me, it's the same kind of quality as if they took a print and they just like cut it down and made it small.
Right.
And then I also got, where'd they go? They came in a set. I didn't want both of them, but these are like 5x5.
Yeah, I remember those.
And it has a quote.
Oh, that's cool.
But I got the set for this one.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
And the quote is.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That. So, but it's that kind of small stuff. I posted about it in Matt Ferguson's group, like, hey, if anyone has any like business cards or small things he's done, and someone reached out to me with a few things that they have that they're
nice
willing to send me, which is awesome.
It's nice to have different sizing on things. every now and then. It's cool.
Well, I think too, like, I can kind of relate to statue people where I'm like, how the hell do you manage if you collect statues? Because those take up so much more space, whereas I'm just dealing with wall space.
Yeah.
But I think it almost goes back to what you're talking about with just being more selective. It's like some of that small stuff I'd rather have than like another 24 by 36 art print that I can't display, that I don't have space for. I'm also trying to focus on just displaying what I have. So I have 7 things getting framed right now. Six things getting framed right now. So I'll be up on the ladder soon. Getting those up on the wall. But
No, that's killer. That's awesome.
I remember Jeff Soto. Are you familiar with Jeff Soto? CC. Oh, yeah. If you're not, I think if you see it, you would know exactly what it is.
it doesn't ring a bell, but yeah, maybe if I saw.
I think, yeah, if you see it, you'll immediately be like, I know what that is for sure. So he at one point, he was doing a lot of like Mondo stuff, and he was realizing that like everything was 24 by 36 and it was a larger format. So he started doing these little like 5 by 5 paintings, like actual like watercolor paintings, acrylic paintings. Some would have like deckled edges, and it became such a hit because you would able to just get this little 5 inch by 5 inch or 3 inch by 3 inch painting, and it became like a thing where he ended up doing just like a bunch of, you know, not like a series, but like twice a year he would do like 20 or 30 of them, right? And they were super affordable. You'd grab them for like $50, and it got to a point where they became so popular. They were actually selling like these like you can get like the mats and stuff, like, you know, for like $10-15, like, you know, super inexpensive. But it makes me think of that. And I remember grabbing a couple, putting them on the wall. And at first I'm like, I don't know, it's so small, right? But once they were on the wall, I'm like, this actually looks good. And it gives a break from that, you know, sort of overwhelming
the big
scale of the larger pieces. And especially when you start to, like in your case specifically, CC, maybe too, you met too, where you get the wall of all the art, just that people can't see it. It tends to really give like a nice even balance, but you know, it's like a break, but a nice balance too.
That's why I'm such a huge advocate for putting up comics, because I think comics are a really, really good way of displaying artwork and art that you like.
I'm big on that.
Star Wars, whatever it is, doesn't matter what it is, but it can fit in smaller places. Like I have little walls that, you know, like there's a door and then a small wall and then this, you know, space where I put my desk and stuff. And I can't put a print on that wall, but I can put 2 comics side by side and then go down and put 2 more. You know what I mean? I can do stuff like that, and it looks really good. And that's why,
especially now, like, where they sell options to like frame them and put the
and if you slab them, they look even better. I mean, it's just it's so good.
That's Michael Robeson says, my statue collection has literally taken over my living room, and it's glorious. You know, we've talked about that in the past, right? Where you see collections, people showcasing a show and tell, and sometimes people ask, like, man, that's like spilling over into the kitchen or the living space. But you know, if you don't have kids and you live alone, or maybe even if you do have kids, right? But your significant other's okay with it, and your kids are okay with it. I think it's one of those things where, I mean, if you enjoy it and it's glorious, man, more power to you. I love it. If you can be, you know, sort of, you know, just totally engulfed in your collection like that when you enjoy it, because a lot of times people have an isolated area, like a man cave or, you know, their basement or whatever. But I think collections that are spread out are sometimes
I think
pretty fun.
I think there's something has to be said also about like what your I mean really what your situation in life is in general.
Thanks,
right?
Rob.
Because you're right, Jason, like it's about, you know, do you have kids? Do you have a wife that's okay with it? All that kind of stuff. But on top of it, you know, for me, a big part of it is if I have too many collectibles, I start to feel irresponsible. It's just the way I feel. And it doesn't mean that anybody has to feel the same way. It's just, that's how I feel. But if you're doing just fine, if everything's totally fine in your life and you don't have to worry about any of that stuff, go for it. Like that's fantastic. I just can't, it's something that always weighs on me. If I'm looking at my shelf and I'm not really liking what I have, every single thing, then I'm just like, man, why do I have this? Like, why am I sitting here with this thing?
I kind of get that feeling because like we've talked about it where I have like art prints in my bathroom. Like
yeah, sure. Just collecting
it's
poop and pee dust on the print. Yeah, I get it. As
long as humidity is not a problem, it's not a problem. Anyway,
yeah.
Like I actually thought about it, and I'm sitting in my living room right now. Like this is like a little corner of my living room. The times I get like, I feel guilty about it is if I have stuff that's piling up that I'm like, this isn't displayed right, or it's not displayed at all. That's when I feel guilty because part of me is like, it's
like tubes sitting in the freaking corner of your room or something like
exactly. Yeah, or it's like
I have that problem.
It's doing like the stuff a disservice, and also that's when it feels almost wasteful. Like this is all you don't need any of this stuff, but that's when it feels to me like when it's shoved in a corner or not displayed well or that kind of thing. So I mean that's kind of what I'm dealing with, where like I'm really working on trying to not necessarily like I'm slowing down on purchases. It's more of like, listen, I've been in this apartment for a year. There's no freaking excuse as to why I still have stuff I haven't hung up that's framed. That's perfectly fine. Or I'm starting to get statues in and things in that I'm like, oh crap, that's right. I was going to get a display case for that and I haven't done it yet.
Yeah.
So now
but see, you're at least putting prints. You're at least putting prints in like a portfolio, right? I mean, you have a portfolio. I have.
So the reason why I think I've taken at least 2 or 3 photos of the helmets I have like in my TV stand. The reason why I tend to not take photos of those is because the area right in front of my TV is like kind of like to me like a wide open area where there's nothing. Mm-hmm. I use that as like my print flattening station. Yeah. Like that's where I've always got prints on the floor that are being flattened with books. And that's why like I was thinking about it somewhat recently. Like I think it'd be nice if I had things displayed where I could actually share photos and how I've chosen to display things and like the gallery walls I'm working on. So it's not just like I keep saying I'm going to do these things and then I don't do the things because I have a day off a week and it's a struggle to keep up with. But
I got you.
Because it's fun to get the things in, but then that's when I feel guilty about the fact that I'm not like boxes will sit, things will sit. It's actually like my coworkers and my friends who encourage me more than anything.
This is the conversation I've had with Jason many, many times. Mm-hmm. It's, hey, Jason, you have how many things in your storage locker that you have in boxes like you don't need? Why do you have them? Right? Like, what is the point at some point? At some point, it's like, why do you have these things when you can sell them and make money from them that you can either use to get something you like or maybe something different? And so, that's a good thing to always keep in mind. But
you open stuff up and you remember how much you loved in the first place. Because I know, Jason, you had that with the Hot Toys. When you're selling the Hot Toys, you're like, damn, these are actually pretty nice. Like,
I have such a, I don't want to say love-hate relationship because that's strong, but I do have this thing with Hot Toys where, and you guys know, I sold quite a bit, but
I know
every time I box one up, I'm like, all right.
They're great.
I'm going to put this out there.
Their quality
is
fantastic.
Day, out of curiosity, somebody posted the new K2SO from Book of Boba, right? That sort of like Terminator scene. And I was like, K2SO is a badass figure. And it was going for crazy money. I saw people selling them for like, 1.5 times retail. And you know me, I'm always good at finding like those random, comic shops that still have them in stock. So I looked, and of course I found one. But that wasn't my interest. I wasn't interested in buying it. I was just curious. What they did have in stock was the Batman Beyond, that badass like black Batman hot toy, and they had them for like $210, brand new in the box. So I bought it, and I was like, why did I do that? But then I kept going back like before they shipped it, and I was like, should I cancel it? Should I not? And I kept looking at the pictures, and I'm like, that's so badass. Like it looks so good, and I get sucked into them all the time.
I know. It's
getting better and better too.
They're really good. That's the thing. Like I don't fault anybody at all for collecting whatever they want to collect. Like you want to collect it, do your thing. For me, it started to become one thing one thing does not look like the other. Like it was like
And
it was like having
that does play in the back of my mind. Your voice plays in the back of my mind sometimes.
Like having a couple Hot Toys in next to a freaking Regal Robot piece. Like not like I know which one I prefer, but
this is the one I got.
Yeah.
Dude,
like that doesn't mean like I know which one I prefer. That doesn't mean that you have to prefer like a Regal Robot over a Hot Toy. That's not what I'm saying. But for me, it just didn't look right. It just was like starting to look really strange. That my collection was kind of changing, and I was like, man, I can't do this. But I hear you. It's really difficult. It's difficult to start. It is. It's difficult to start dealing with the whole like changing over of your collection changing.
So it's funny you say that because like I've been on a show with Steve, the Casual Nerd Problems. It started. I think he just wanted to do one show, and then it's turned into like an every Monday thing.
Yeah.
And it's called Among Collectors, so it's like I'm the print and prop replica person. John, the everyday collector, he's the statue guy. Sean, the small scale guy.
Mm-hmm.
Danny will go on as like a statue and comic guy. But it is weird to talk about Hot Toys and Regal Robot in the same sentence. Not necessarily because like one is better than the other, or one's a high-end collectible and the other's not, because they both are on the high end. If we talk about like Hot Toys, those are still you're paying a lot for what's essentially an action figure. It's just that they're two totally different animals.
Yeah.
And there's different qualities to each of those that we appreciate, that it's easy for us to talk about. That you can't. There's things that Hot Toy collectors appreciate about Hot Toys that you can't talk about in the same breath as Regal Robot and that kind of thing.
Well, I feel like that would be the same way where if you started really getting into studio scale, right? And you really started to pump up the studio scale stuff. Eventually you could feel like why am I still collecting statues, or like why am I still collecting helmets, or what I mean? So things always change in your collection. That's why, honestly, that's one of the reasons why it's really hard in this in the way that the industry and the collecting thing works, where you pre-order something and it takes a year to get something. Your entire collection could change in a year.
I mean, it's there's so much influence that you're right. A collection can change, but collecting, and there's not a single person that I feel can negate this. Collecting is a graduating type process, right? Like CC said, it's not that Hot Toys are cheap per se compared to the next thing, because a $200, $300 action figure isn't cheap by any means. But you go from collecting one thing to another. For example, Michael Black in the comments says, that's how I started once I was moving from Hot Toys to NYC, now getting stuff from Ben Huckabee, so on and so forth, right? It's hard to compare. So you go through this graduation process where you start off with Hot Toys. And Matt, I can go back to, I remember how pumped you were for the Jazz Inc.
Totally.
And that's a good example, but then you go up to this piece, that, so on and so forth. So you start to become more narrow.
But Jason, real quick, just real quick before you keep going on this, graduating can also go the opposite way.
Yeah, well, that's exactly. I'm glad you said that's exactly where I was going. So what happened with me, where I got stuck in this like really weird kind of box that I got put in to my own fault, was I'd been collecting, like when I came onto the show, I'd been collecting a long time before you guys for quite some time, and it was weird. Things had kind of slowed down. Like Sideshow had their like golden era of like putting out the bangers, like the Mythos statues and the the Tauntauns and the Dewbacks and all these great pieces that they were just killing it. And then just kind of trickle down and slow down. The statues were slowing down. Star Wars was actually losing momentum, and there wasn't really a lot happening. Like even on like whether it was like the RPF runs on like whether it be like hilts or blasters or what prop replicas. RS at the time was primarily focused on doing like the 501st type stuff. They really weren't putting out a lot of things aimed at collectors, and that's where I kind of went backwards, like you said, instead of going forward. And this like weird period around the time Rogue One came out, right after, about a year after The Force Awakens, I got my first Hot Toy. I got a Shore Trooper.
Yep.
And then for like 2-3 years straight, I really didn't collect anything but Hot Toys.
Right.
And I had already been through, I had studio scale pieces, I had Master Replica and EFX and statues. And so it was weird for me because I was kind of going backwards, if you will. And then once I got involved with you guys, it kind of flipped and went back in the other direction. But it was interesting to see that. And it's interesting to see how I still kind of have this tug of war with myself.
Yeah.
Where like, yeah, I collect this stuff, but every once in a while, I mean, dude, you see sometimes.
Jason, that's because it's all good. That's because it's all like Hot Toys are, they make amazing stuff, and Regal Robot makes amazing stuff, and you know, we're all like, we say it. How many times do we say this? Like, we're all just meth addicts using collectibles to, you know, not do meth. I mean, I'm not saying that that's necessarily what's happening, but we are like addicted to getting things, and you know what I mean, and we all have our own issues there. So, you know, I think I think that's plays into however we, you know, however we decide to collect. It can go one way or the other, whatever, but you're still always looking for that other thing.
The next hit.
Yeah. I mean, Jason, how many times have I flown into like other interests, right? But I always still come back to collecting Star Wars. Like,
you always revert back. You taste a little bit here, you take a drink over here, a puff over here, but you always come back to. It's
just so good. It's so sweet on the lips. It's so good. I freaking love it.
It's so good for you, but so bad for you.
Exactly. Dylan says, I do also feel very irresponsible too sometimes. I have prints in my bathroom as well. See, there you go. My collection is spread from my living room. Sometimes I buy more things than I can display right away, and I get that. I mean, that's the tough part. It's tough to sell things that you really love, and it's tough when you don't have the room to just display exactly how you want to display and have, you know what I mean? Like, not everybody has. I mean, you know, Steve's super blessed to have like a giant basement that he can just go, yeah, I've got all this room. I can shift things around. I can do what I need to do and display what I need to display in there. And he's done a great job doing it. But, you know, I don't have room like that. I mean, Jason, you know that. I don't have room like that. Like,
well, you're also in a different geographical situation.
Totally. But that's what I'm saying. Everyone's in a different situation. And so
his basement is larger than my apartment.
That's crazy.
So
is it really?
I swear it is. Like, having been in his basement, I'm like thinking now, amazing. Like,
that's amazing.
I mean, I do have obviously a lot taller ceilings.
Yeah.
I'm not in a basement, but yeah, I was thinking about, because I think I even told him that he has the Snowtrooper maquette helmet, like the RS exclusive, in a corner.
Yeah.
Where like Mike Warren bust is, and I'm like, it looks so freaking small, whereas mine looks like it's like the biggest thing in my apartment. Like, you can't miss it. Like, the second you walk in my living room, I feel like it has, like, people overuse the word presence, but like, I feel like you can't miss it because it's so large. Whereas like, that's the last thing I looked at in your whole room, and it's in a corner, and it doesn't. Yeah, it just looks a lot smaller in his basement than it does.
What I find so interesting about that, and stop me if it gets too personal for sure, if you need to cut me off, Matt, but like, I remember there was a few comments, especially from people like, I don't want to say overseas, like European Union, but like a lot of the UK, not a lot, but there was a few comments from guys in the UK last year about like, oh, like you Americans in your large homes and this and that.
Yeah.
But then there's also just, even within the States, right? Like, not to put you out there, but Matt, your house isn't a very large house.
No.
Like, by any means, and it's a single floor, but it's also $1 million home, and people don't realize that.
Mm-hmm.
You literally live in $1 million home, and then you have other people who may
not by choice. I mean, like,
not by choice.
It's California. It happens.
Yeah, it's California geographically. There's reasons to it, but and that's why I was saying if it's too personal, cut me off. But then there's other situations like we talk about, like the size of Steve's house, but you're in different geographical locations where, you know, it may be 60% less of the cost, but 5 times the size.
Yeah,
it's one of those things where there's so many factors that come into play. Like, you know, I'm in a situation where in Massachusetts it's the same thing. You know, a large house is easily, you know,
it's super expensive, right?
Millions of dollars versus like, you someone who lives in the Midwest. And so it's one of those things where like, and then it could be, you're in an area where you don't have basements because there's earthquakes or there's flooding or there's,
Exactly.
So collecting is one of those things where, yeah, do you have prints in your bathroom? Do you have things overflowing into your living room? Like, do you have a family? Do you not? There's so many factors to it. And it kind of drives me nuts when people make negative comments about that stuff because it's like, look, everybody lives differently, right? I remember
Jason, not to mention, sorry to cut you off real quick, but not to mention a lot of us can't do anything about it. As in, if I moved out of my house currently to go to a bigger house, it's ridiculous. Like, it's absolutely ridiculous what I have to pay to get into a bigger house. And so we're not going to do it. It just doesn't make any sense. And maybe we'll build an ADU or something out back that'll help. I can move into that as my office. But like, no, we're not going to do that.
Not like we're just picking on Steve, but like Chris also is blessed with like a really large
and
a designated space where, like, for me, I don't have a room. Like, I couldn't have a room in my collection, but also that's my choice. Like, I've thought of that too. Sorry, Jason. Like, if I were to get more high-end prints that are like, grails and a lot of people's wish lists or in their collections, like, it goes to that guilt of like, I wouldn't do it now because I'm renting and I know I don't have the space for them. I couldn't display it properly. Like, if I had a house, it'd be another story. But like, even if I had a house, knowing it's me and I don't have kids, like, damn straight there'd be statues in my living room. Like, that's not changed. Right. That's an aesthetic choice for me as well. But
and I get that.
I agree with both of you.
I get that. And that's a whole nother issue, right? Is that, my wife's amazing, but I'm not stupid. I'm not gonna pull my statues out into the living room. It's not gonna happen. And I don't blame her for that. Like, that's just not the way it works. Like, you've got to be able to like live with other people and compromise in that way. And it's just not gonna happen. And not to mention, who knows what my kids would end up doing to those damn things.
Right.
My dogs, like, no, not gonna happen.
Yeah, the pets are a big thing.
So you've got to work with what you got. And that said, I think that also means that you have to collect not only within your means, but collect within your boundary. I think is another thing to think about, is that if you're just collecting and putting shit in boxes and tubes and shit and sitting it in your garage, hoping that someday I'll be able to like display this stuff. I mean, maybe you will someday, but like, come on now. Like,
see, I fell into that trap when we started going hard with the show and everybody was locked down during the pandemic. Nobody could go anywhere.
Yeah, it was a different time.
Like you said at the beginning of the show, I ended up with that storage unit just filled with boxes and stuff that I was never going to open. And it became a detriment. It became a problem where I just had I would open things up and didn't even remember I bought it, or like I was buying it because at the moment it was hype or everybody else was getting it and it looked cool. And I was just like, what am I doing with this? I'm not going to display this. I have no desire to have this. And, there's all these like little things you can get sucked into. But yeah, it's interesting.
See, this is true. This is true.
Chris says the same thing about his kids.
It's a long time, man.
That's the mentality of a collector, right?
Actually, Chris is a lot closer to that than we are. He might be able to get some space opened up in the near future here, but like for me, it ain't happening anytime soon, man. I just gotta, I gotta deal with that. So I'm.
I was gonna say, I don't show my collections. A lot of people don't know this, but my collection is all over my house.
Yeah,
I
totally.
I don't have a dedicated room. I don't have a man cave. I mean, I do have an isolated area where a majority of pieces are, but there's things in my living room. I do have art in my bathroom, like on both opposing sides. I have pieces in my bedroom. I just have, collectibles kind of all over the place, but it works. It's
totally
cohesive and it
at the end of the day, do whatever works. Dylan, you do what you want to do, dude. You put stuff wherever you want and wherever you can. It's fine,
dude. Wherever you go in your house and you look at something that makes you smile, rock and roll, go.
Yeah,
for it.
No kidding.
I don't know if it's like the mind of a collector or an addict, but by the way, no one reacted to the statue, and I don't know if it's because they were afraid of judgment on my part, but I posted a statue in the group chat that was quite scantily clad, And I was like,
yeah.
what if she just had a little bit more clothes and I could like put her in my bathroom? Because she is beautiful.
Is that the Ula one?
Not Ula. She's just some random Twi'lek.
Okay. Okay.
Oh, I did see that. That's a great looking statue too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty.
Like she's beautiful. The face looks gorgeous. I don't know if we're actually allowed to show the photos because.
But it was very what's it called? Vampirella or Vampir? Like what's that? It was very one of those.
If anyone knows was it who did it? There's a Deja Thoris statue where she's laying down. That's basically, if you've Googled that statue, you've seen it. Her top half was the same as this Twi'lek, where the Twi'lek had everything else that looked fine, but it looked like she was a working lady in Jabba's palace. But beautiful, again, a custom creator who's doing it. But I did think about it, where I'm like, man, she's beautiful. I just wish she had more of a top. And where the hell would I put her? Like, I think the bathroom would make sense. But then I'm like, who the hell? I'm like, someone needs to just shake me by the shoulders if it's like you're gonna put a quarter scale statue in your bathroom.
Well, see, that's not the. I think that's okay if it makes sense in there, and like, who cares? Like, do what you want. The problem I have with bathroom collectibles is that it's getting shit stuff all over it. It's getting like.
How do you use your bathroom? Because I don't know if you're using it correctly. If there's
I'm telling you right now, everybody's using it the same.
Yeah, if you
particles
take a toothbrush and test it, it has particles.
Freaking disgusting.
Yeah, it's a communicate.
Not to mention, then you're taking a shower and there's like humidity all over everything. So whatever's in there is getting. If you put that statue enclosed in your bathroom, go for it. Do anything you want. Like, that's cool. Like, if you put like an enclose or put it in the wall or enclose it around whatever, hell yes, go for it. But otherwise, it's getting all kinds of shit on it. Like,
yeah,
I don't know if that's the best idea. That's why your prints are probably fine, because they're freaking framed. It's not like you're putting them up against, in the wall with a tack. Like, they're framed, they're inside something, so they're fine. Hasblue says, I'm that guy, cleaned out my parents' unused garage, and now I got free storage for dozens of unopened pieces. Shooting for a house next year. If you have a plan, that's awesome. That's cool if you have. I'm a huge fan, by the way, of not using garages for cars. I mean, Jason, you guys know. Yeah, you guys know this. We have a home theater now because of our garage is not a garage, and I just don't know why people park in their garages anymore.
And the boxes are in the rafters. That was my favorite.
Some boxes, I have a storage unit. I kind of have to. I don't have much of a choice, but see, pee sprinkles everywhere. Exactly. Traveling Jedi says, "Don't lick your bathroom statues." Well, that's true. I mean, as long as you don't lick them, you're probably
don't lick statues in general. I feel like is a solid advice.
You shouldn't lick any of them, probably. Dylan says, "I obsessively check my framed bathroom art print for moisture, and I have the frame seams taped over on the back." That's actually smart. I guess that would be a good idea, just in case, just to make sure you're not getting any moisture inside of it. But I guess depends on how cheap the print or the framing is, right? A good framing would probably not have a bit of that kind of an issue. Maybe?
Well, I think it has more to do with the problem you could have with humidity, besides the fact that I've seen people who have prints in basements and then they go to move and they're like, what the fuck? There's like mold on the back.
Mm-hmm. Oh, right.
Yeah, that's
because they didn't realize how moist their basements were. Sorry, I just used the M word. But I think the concern I have more is like this Batman Begins print. You can't in this angle.
Yeah.
But it's shiny. It's almost like photo paper. Like if you're photos from like Walgreens or whatever. So it has spacers, even though it might have been okay because it's so dry in Colorado. Mm-hmm. But the concern is if there's any kind of moisture, if it's humid, is that with it being such a shiny finish, if it sticks to the glass, it might permanently stick to the glass.
Oh, right. So I wonder how people deal with that in like Florida and like.
I think just spacers. Oh, I mean, I'm from Florida. I never had prints with spacers, but that's only because I didn't have any that were that texture, that were shiny like this.
Right.
Even the Phantom Menace one, I didn't do spacers, but some of the paper is like on a foil paper. I had thought about it just a little bit. Another thing about that Phantom Menace, it's 24 by 36, but it's acrylic. Because actually, besides the fact that I was always going to go with acrylic, but the frame I picked is so thin that they're like, we can't do glass because there's a concern that the frame could like buckle with
Oh, wow.
glass. It's too heavy. So what's weird is I can hold that up with like one hand. It's super, super light.
That's crazy. That's cool.
Which is kind of also concerning because it feels very
cheap?
like not cheap, but like something's wrong. If that makes sense. Like it looks like it should be heavy, and then you pick it up.
Yeah, it doesn't look right. It doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
Yes, Ven says, yeah, I have to park in the garage here in Texas because of the hail. I didn't go that far in my head, but I mean, Jason, really? I feel like where you're at, you'd probably have to park in the garage too, right? Your freaking weather's disgusting.
Yeah, the weather is, today will be 90, tomorrow will be snowing.
Yeah, I did.
We've had a lot of hail recently, actually.
Hardly anyone in California parks in the garage. I mean, at least around this area. It's just in San Diego, it just doesn't happen. So.
Yeah, I noticed that a lot of people in California, it's almost like a garage is the version of like an attic or a basement. They kind of sub it as like which makes sense, right?
We don't have basements because of earthquakes, right? So,
but here's a weird thing. Like on the East Coast, a lot of homes, like if you have a garage, you don't have a place to park. Like your house, you have a garage, but you still have a driveway to park your car.
Yeah.
So
true.
it's like you still have an area to park your car. Here, like if you have a garage, like you park your car in the garage.
There's no driveway to the garage.
Most houses, no. I mean, like if you're on
street,
if you're like way out in the suburbs, like then you would. But most neighborhoods, because of the coding and how they want everything to look clean and beautiful, like you have a 1 or 2 car garage, and then there's maybe a little bit of space to park in front of it, but you're blocking it at that point.
Yeah. Interesting.
I noticed that a lot when I moved here from Florida, where like a lot of the residential streets are really wide, and I'm like, that's freaking weird. And then I realized it's because they might have a driveway that fits 1 car, as opposed to Florida where it's at least 2 for the most standard, and then your garage could fit 2 cars mostly. But it's for people to just park on the street. And like if you're in the city, like in Denver, and you're renting or whatever, it's not guaranteed that you get a spot. Like
parking on the street is illegal here.
Yeah.
See, obviously that's not going to work everywhere, but man, I love being able to use our garage. But that said, it's also expensive because you got to get a storage unit, and getting a storage unit in California is not cheap. So it's like it comes with its own issues. Trevor just says, I have a 2.5 car garage for storage and gym use. I can park 20 cars easily in my driveway. Exactly. That sounds fantastic. I just think, man, if you can find an extra use for some of that stuff, I do envy people that have a basement. I think that's fantastic. I mean, to have a finished basement that's like basically another house underneath you.
Pretty much.
It's incredible. It's freaking amazing. That's pretty cool that you can do that. But anyway, Jason, what do you think? You want to move on to
stock shop a little, because I also want to get Justin and Ethan or both or one or the other on before it gets too late. But real quick, I sent you a link.
Okay.
I thought this was interesting. I want to just open up and get some thoughts on this. I thought it was a smart way to drum up business, but I also, I don't know. I think it's kind of cool.
All right, let me bring it up here. Share screen. Okay. Add to stream.
Oh yeah, I think I posted this.
So what they're selling a customizable Rebel helmet. So you can what can you do with it?
So I got an email, right? What I don't know, like a week ago or so. They had an email, and it didn't have a lot of information in it at first because it wasn't on the website just yet.
Right.
So I thought it was one of those things where like you go in and you just say, hey, I want pork ends, or I want wedge, or I thought it was one of those like Merrick, like you choose who you want, like customized. But I guess it's the opposite. I guess basically you get the blank shell, and then you get a number of different decals and a number of, so you basically get it and you make you kind of make your own helmet. So it can be any, it doesn't have to be a real character. It could be a fictitious character. It could be, I don't know. But I thought like this kind of gives you a lot for customization. I mean, you could make, Luke Splash Shield helmet with this if you wanted to get real crafty.
Sure.
I mean, there's a lot of things you can do with this, which I think what's the price on it?
$350.
$350. Okay, for $350, I mean, it's not that bad an idea, right? I think it's kind of a fun thing. What are your thoughts, Cece?
So I thought this was interesting and cool that like I think it'll also come with decals and stuff. Or you could ask for I saw pictures of decals.
Like it's like a sheet, right? Like gives you different
like a super sheet. I will say years ago, maybe not that long ago, I think Hasbro did something like this, but they were small because I almost bought one. I think they had one that was on the smaller side, on the smaller side, like this big, and then they had one that was probably half scale. And it was just a white stormtrooper with solid lenses. You couldn't wear it, but the whole premise.
I remember that. It came with
markers or whatever. The whole premise was that you could decorate it, and I thought that was cool. And it reminded me of, we've seen a lot of, over the years, like RS did it a few years ago. Regal Robot participated, where they'll do like a charity auction. Well, they'll have artists decorate certain helmets. Like the one I remember I loved with RS and Regal Robot was Regal Robot did like an Ewok wearing like part of a Scout Trooper helmet, like it had torn it apart, like it had grabbed as a trophy and turned it into like a mask it could wear. So they did like the whole bust of the Ewok. We've showed it on the show before. So I think this is cool, but as soon as I post, like I was also thinking like it'd be a lot cheaper to just buy a Hasbro and paint it. And I've seen a lot of people do that.
That's true. And I've seen some really good ones because you can get those discounted sometimes for like what, $70, $80?
Yeah. And like Dan Shudlick posted, I think his recently, that he did years ago where he was like, which I thought was probably the most unique thing in this collection, which is kind of hard to say.
The Megadeth one or something?
Yeah, like it was like, hey, if he was like an X-Wing pilot, what would he have on his helmet? Like what would he personalize it with, considering how each of them are so individual with what colors they use and that kind of thing. But he used like an RS kit. So I like the idea of this. I just think that I've seen it done, and I think it could be done cheaper with a Hasbro. And I've debated doing it with the Scout, like because I've seen people do it, taking like now that Hasbro is doing it, I don't think it's in people's hands yet, but they're doing the Scout Trooper helmet. Take that and paint it kind of like Ezra painted it in Rebels, where it's like orange and purple, and it's got like a Loth cat on the front or something like that. So I like, and I think also it's like printing money for them if this is popular, because they literally have to do less work on this.
Yeah, it's pretty simple, obviously.
I will say they're on my shit list because I still don't have my Batman cowl.
How long ago was that?
It was last year. I don't remember when last year, but they did say it was going to be early 2023 that they would send them out, and we're halfway through the year.
Yeah.
I think they just haven't sold them all yet, because they initially were limited to 500, then they limited it to 200. And so I think they're waiting for all those 200 spots to sell before they actually start sending them to people. But anyway.
Okay.
Thanks for coming to my TED Talk.
Real quick, too, I sent you one more link, and then we can get into, because I also want to do the FCC, if you're okay with it. I am interested in seeing the Voltron Throne, if you're okay with unboxing it in a little bit. But Matt, I sent you one more link. I thought this might be interesting to go over. Now, as Matt's pulling this up, I will give just a little prerequisite here, is that this is a legacy saber, Disney parks. What I found interesting is it's the Ezra Bridger saber. And I think that although, I mean, I'm not going to knock the legacy park hilts. The only issue we tend to have with them is that they're a little bit more cumbersome than they should be. But other than that, I think they're well made. But I think this is an interesting looking hilt. And I think I like the idea that Disney is getting more unique and thinking outside the box with different ideas, right? Like Ahsoka was cool. Everybody loved it. And everybody was, yay, this is great. But I mean, this is really this isn't Luke. This isn't Vader. This isn't like your typical hilt. Yet, if you look at the references from, was it Clone Wars, or what's the cartoon originating from?
From Rebels, you mean?
From Rebels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's pretty bang on because I know there's that other one that has like the square. Right? There's that other hilt that has like the square handle. But I don't know. But I think this one looks great. This is a really cool piece.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. This is what? This is the new their new legacy. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, this is the new Disney Parks release, the Legacy Saber release. But I just like that they're really going outside the box with these. I saw this and thought this was really really interesting. It's giving, everybody complains about, not everybody, but there's complaints about the Disney version of Star Wars, and if Lucasfilm still had it, and I feel like Disney's trying here. They're trying to diversify and give different things to the fans and let the fans enjoy it, because this is a pretty decent premium version of this lightsaber.
Yeah, right.
If you're a fan of Ezra Bridges, this is a great version to have in your collection.
The question comes down to, do you have to double fist this thing to hold it? Like usually if you get these things, they are,
twice the size. Yeah,
exactly. It's the size of a giant dill pickle that in your hands, and you're just like, what the hell is this thing? Like a mag.
And they're not exactly inexpensive either.
No.
Like, they're a little bit more than Black Series hilts, right? What are they roughly? Someone can correct me in the comments, but I think they're roughly what? CC, you might know. What are they? $200 sometimes, $250 depending on the hilt.
I think that it would be like
They vary in price, right?
I think like the more expensive ones, like the Savi, like you build them yourself, tend to be in like the maybe 250, 300.
This is 169. This says 169 on this.
Yeah, I think 150 is probably like average.
So it's not expensive, but it's not cheap either.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So but it's 11 by 2 1/6 by 1 4/5.
I will say all the complaints we have on the girth, like Dylan just mentioned, this is a saber for an animated character. I don't think you could argue it's not terribly accurate as far as scale goes, because it was never produced 3-dimensionally in the first place. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so you're right. I feel like there's a little saving grace there, right? Because it's kind of like a concept piece. It's like, how can you call it wrong?
Yeah, we don't want to be girthist on this stream. Like, we do need to be somewhat careful. These do look good. These do look good in people's collections. Like, just sitting. If you don't, if you have a bunch of these types of lightsabers, they still look really good. And if you put them together, you're not going to know any difference. It's when you actually hold it up to like a Roman props or something like that, and the difference is massive. You know what I mean? Like, you're able to hold this with like two fingers, and it's heavy, and it's like the perfect size. Those other Disney ones are they're huge. They're freaking huge. But I still think they do a pretty damn good job with the quality that they put into them.
Yeah, aesthetically they are very well done, and they look great. Steve for a while had a whole thing of them on display, and I think they were really good placeholders for the time, for sure.
Dylan says it's in the Ahsoka photos they recently released. Surely they could have based it off the live action version.
But keep in mind too, I'm not trying to play defense here, but these I know there's the Profis and the NeoPixels and all that, but those are $1,000 hilts, right?
Yeah.
For $69, it's thicker, but it's got electronics jammed inside where this thing lights up and makes sounds and clashes, and that's a lot of bang for your buck.
Yeah, no doubt.
It could be a static display piece, or you could throw a blade in it and you can battle and have fun and troop with it and all the good stuff,
Which is cool. Like if you're buying this thing and you're trooping with it and you're, like you're doing that kind of stuff, like that's fine. Like you don't absolutely need some NeoPixel crazy blinding, thing to make it look good. It's just, if you're trying to get something that would be more accurate, I get it. It's not gonna, it's not gonna be as it's gonna be a little more girthy than I think you'd want. So, Traveling Joe says it's thicker with lots of electronics jammed inside. Jeez.
Yes, it is.
Yeah,
it always is, isn't it?
It is. It is. That's okay.
But I thought it was a cool looking one, right?
No, it is. It is. It's cool that they're still making all of these and putting all the, all the time and effort and money into making more of these. It's awesome. So
there was some Gentle Giant stuff, but I was like, we can say that for after
we can
unboxing, because there was the Jumbo figures.
Yeah,
they're doing 000, the killer C-3PO. Dude, it looks, no pun intended, but it looks killer. Like
it probably looks like an Ewok because they get everything wrong.
No, it's the Jumbo
it's
figure.
Not that bad?
It's not the statue. It looks like a giant Kenner figure, but it's the killer. It's the black C-3PO with
I got you.
The Edward Scissorhands. Dude, it looks awesome. It's badass.
Look who we got here.
Hey, look at that. Special guest.
What's up, man?
What's up? How you guys doing?
Good. Happy Friday night. We got
you guys have had some good conversation so far.
Hey, we get on to the special guest.
Oh.
Hey guys.
What's up? So guys, you got how did that release come along? Does it feel good to have that out?
It's going well. Yeah. I think Justin is super happy to have the first hurdle of the build part done, because I think we did the math on it and he spent about 1,200 hours so far on the creation.
Yeah.
We probably spent $60,000-$70,000. So
Jeez,
it's
no big deal.
It's a big project.
Yeah.
But it's totally worth it. Like worth everything.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm really happy with the way it turned out too. I mean, it looks great. I can't wait to get the physical model of it for our prototype done. So
dude,
the pictures
awesome.
That you guys set up, I know they were just sort of like the renders and such, but they look amazing. So the reason why I wanted you guys to jump on tonight was to better. It's always one thing for us to talk hearsay, right? To get some info and pass it along, but I wanted to touch upon the release, the funding, and initially it was from what, June 1st to June 7th, or was it to June 8th?
Yeah, the initial idea was to try to close like our initial minimum number count by the 8th, and that would just allow us to like really springboard. So that was the intention of doing the extra piece. Plus, we had been talking about it behind the scenes during the build, and it's really hard to see that whole interior when it's all put together and you got your windshield on and all that stuff. So we were like, this is a really, really neat way to give you an opportunity not only to have a separate piece that's, incredibly accurate, but also you can get in there and you can actually look, because we can put a lighting kit inside and you can actually see all that crazy detail that you wouldn't normally see of the cockpit. So
yeah, the cockpit is the one thing that gets lost in translation, because it's painted so dark and everything is kind of just jammed in there and all has the same paint scheme. So, and then you get the canopy covering it, so you lose a lot of it visually. I thought it was a great idea that you guys had the second display piece. So now, to better explain, that display piece is you've extended the backing through the end of the month, correct?
Yeah. So we're going to keep the contest open, or the reward stretch goal, whatever you want to call it, open through the end of the month. And we're really not terribly far away from that goal.
It's very close.
It's just a matter of getting those last few people. We had a bunch of people that pre-funded at the very beginning when we first started the build. So if those people hop on and then really just a few more, then we're basically set. I mean, we would love to sell more than that, but we don't necessarily have to. So
I like that you guys are doing this little extra cockpit piece thing here.
So this right here, Matt, is the incentive. So if they reach the goal, this is included. But then, and clarify me if I'm wrong, guys, but there is the potential that if in the small chance that the goal isn't reached, you might still offer it as a piece that you can purchase, correct?
We will. So if we don't reach the goal, we will offer it, but only to those who have already purchased a slave one.
Yeah, right.
Okay, so that's
the thing. So you need to be, you need to be active. You need to get on there and obviously want it.
Yes, there is, Chris.
Pre-order. Then if you do that, it'll be it'll be available to you to purchase if we don't reach the goal.
Yeah, talk to Chris about the option of having it painted. You guys,
yeah, so we do our own painting in house, and there's an option to buy the whole fire spray itself painted and built and finished, and it would include painting this guy.
Okay, this guy, yeah.
If we don't reach the goal, I don't think. I mean, we haven't discussed it. We'll have to discuss whether or not we would offer just a paint job on this guy separately, or how that would work. Man,
it looks
I
good
assume for anybody who
though.
has purchased a painted one that we would do that for them. But I'm not sure if we'd offer it just completely by itself.
I can't remember if I asked you this. Do you guys have people buying these things and not painting them, displaying them just like kind of raw like they are? Or because they also look good this way too.
Right.
Like
we talked about that recently. That
yeah, we don't really know yet. We're going to be working on adding a user gallery on the website.
Yeah. Okay.
And starting to do a lot more of like experiences promotion for our current clientele and anybody that wants to come in, so that they have more stuff to do and more stuff to look at when they see the website, and repost you guys' videos on there and just say, this is kind of the breadth of being able to look and visualize a lot of the stuff. So I'm hoping that once we put that gallery out there and set up an upload system, that we'll see a lot more people's work on the kits. But I think over the next maybe 6 to 8 months, I'm hoping to see a lot more stuff, because we're going to start shipping like all of the backlog stuff in July. So it's just going to be people receiving stuff through the end of the year to get everything caught up. So there'll be a lot more kits out in the open.
So it's going to be a busy quarter 3, quarter 4 for you guys, huh?
Yeah, it's going to be a very busy quarter 4 for us.
Nice. So
so cool.
Is it cool to touch on some details on this? I mean, so this comes basically, you're getting as you see it, right? Once it's built, you're able to display it as such with the armature, the base, the wings. As people, I mean, how do we say it in terms of those who? I guess basically you have what's considered like static or in-flight, right? So you can basically take the wing and go from this direction to this direction, correct?
Yeah,
completely posable.
Yeah, they will be able to rotate, and you'll be able to see the pistons actuate too.
Awesome. Yeah, I can.
And that's in any position, because there's a set screw built into the armature that you can loosen and tighten, so you don't have to go from like just fully down to fully open. You can put it in whatever pose you want.
Yeah.
And just like previous kits, I know that you guys had spent well over a year, if not longer, with the R&D and consulting the right people to make sure everything is as accurate as it can possibly be, down to the last detail, and all the parts are pretty much scanned from the original bits. So everything as far as both detail and size is going to be 99.99% as accurate as can be, right?
Yeah, it's a very complicated process. I'll let Justin explain, but it's much more than just a 3D scan, because anybody can take a part and 3D scan it and say, hey, I made a kit part. It's a lot more to that. I'll let Justin.
Yeah, so I don't really the only scanning we do is really just to kind of get the rough shape of like some of the more complex curved pieces. But I usually have all these kit parts over here, and I will actually go through with a bunch of calipers and do every length, width, height of all the little features of that kit piece and build it from scratch. So they're all down to 2 decimal places of 1,000 millimeter.
Wow.
So we don't put any scanned kit parts on any of our kits. It's all, if it is scanned, it's scanned, and then I remodel over it to get that, just to make sure I get that curve properly. Like especially for like the Intex pieces for like around the engine pieces. Really, I just did the scan parts just to make sure I got that curve right, because there's a lot of like curves going this way. Then you have some curves kind of coming down for those Porsche pieces. So I just had to. That's it's all remodeled from scratch.
Yeah, because the Porsche piece, for those who may not know, actually gets cut up and then sort of reset. So yeah, and you're right. It's got. I mean, to keep it simple, the curvature of the body of a car, which. Yeah. Aerodynamically has a lot of very fine and smooth, rounded areas. So, yeah, I was looking through some of these images, and I noticed there was even the slightest little detail here and there. I was like, wow, they really didn't miss a beat. And I was really impressed that there was some things. I was almost looking to kind of say like, I don't know if they got this. And I'm like, there it is. Like maybe they missed that. And I'm like, nope, there it is. And it's really impressive how much time, effort, and energy has gone into making sure that you covered every last inch of this thing. And I still personally, I still don't know how you guys are selling it at the price that you're selling it at. Being a builder myself, I just think this is a deal. I know it sounds like I'm saying it to be campy and to push this thing, but I mean, I even said it to you guys private off the show a couple weeks ago. I'm like, how are you selling them at such a cost? And I know you guys are able to do it the way you do it, but I mean, this thing is a no-brainer at that price. It really is.
Sweet. Thanks, man.
Because even if you pay to have it painted, you're still getting it for less than, I mean, if you were to find one secondary market, I mean, you're paying.
Even just buying all the kit parts, I mean, that's a lot of money over there. So
yeah, you're talking.
If you were to build it from scratch.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think I made over like 330 pieces from scratch for the kit parts on this.
Oh.
So it's quite a bit.
I love this. Just this piece. I think I commented on it. Or if just this was available, that's the only thing I'd have space for.
It's cool though. Yeah, it's a cool little display piece. I like it.
It is, and I like the base. I like how it's just like a nice, display piece in and of itself. That's definitely
that's really cool.
A cool piece.
How big is the full piece, guys? Just so people know.
Let's see.
It's 12 inches deep, so the base is 12 inches deep, and then it's 24 by 25, 25 by 24.
For the actual piece, let's see.
And then this guy is like 9 inches tall.
Yeah, he gets about 9. Yeah, the cockpit by itself is about 9 inches tall, about maybe 6 inches wide, and about 6 inches deep. So I mean, it's a substantial
decent display piece. Yeah,
yeah, it's a nice little piece to put on your desk. Would be really cool, especially with all the lights and stuff on it.
I wanted to ask you guys too while we have you. I kind of just want to take advantage of having you guys on. So for those who are interested but haven't yet backed it, and you're thinking, oh, maybe it's not my price range, or maybe I don't have the funds. So there are payment plans. One thing that came up last time where a couple of people said, hey, I'm trying to pay, but I'm noticing that there's this second charge in place, which was I forget what it was called.
Called setup fee, and that's just how the app names it.
Yeah.
Okay, but that actually, if you are charged that setup fee, that isn't in addition to, that rolls into.
No. Essentially, it's like a deposit, and it gets subtracted from the total.
From the total amount. Okay.
Right.
So anybody that was concerned, because I had some questions about that after as well. So anybody who was concerned about that setup fee, it gets deducted from the overall cost. It's not in addition to. So I hope that does help clarify that. So when you pay that, you're actually knocking the price down less that amount. But it still gives you room to make payments over X amount of months and break that up while this is being produced.
Oh yeah.
This is killer, guys. You guys really knocked it out of the park.
Thanks, man.
I'm excited to be able to work on a slave one that's so just clean, just such a clean kit.
Oh yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's gonna be a really, really fun build.
Oh yeah.
And I think we've only got 8 slots left for a painted commission.
Okay.
There is, I think it does mention, if you go to the homepage, click on the pre-order, and then click on the payment plan, it will tell you what it is, but I believe it's 8 months for the unpainted version. And then I think we go up to 12 for the painted version.
Okay.
Sometimes our kits have taken more than a year to come out because of vendor situations, but right now, because we're in a groove with them in the production pipeline, our goal is to try to get this one slipped in right at the end of the last one that gets made, so that instead of having any type of wait time, we just go right on the schedule. So this could be produced and done within 6 or 7 months.
Wow.
From now. Yeah. Fingers crossed. We want to ship before Chinese New Year next year. That's the goal. So that's another reason why we're doing this gift, is because we just want to go through our engineering this month, get the prototype made, test it, and go. Instead of we don't want any waiting. That's That's the plan. I think it's going to help a lot for all of you guys, all of you clients, and everybody else.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think it makes it that much more exciting, right? Because part of backing something is always the wait time. Whether you're on a Kickstarter or and it could be anything that you're backing. It's one of those things where now it's like, okay, now it's time to wait for my new 3D printer or my new laser cutter. Or, is it going to be a year? Is it going to be 2 years? But yeah. Chris, I gotta say, I mean, you can't go wrong on this, man. And getting it painted, I mean, it's a no-brainer, man. It's just a beautiful piece.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is
really
on
is.
those Grail type vehicles for sure.
Yeah, the paint job's gonna be awesome too. That's gonna be.
Yeah, I'm gonna be painting from next week till the end of next year.
Probably.
It's definitely gonna be one of those interesting pieces that you move forward a year or two, and people are looking back like kicking themselves, like, man, I should have got that. Because, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's safe to say, unlike some of the previous models, there isn't going to be a run number 2 or a run number 3, right? Or maybe there is. I don't know.
I don't have a plan for it, but I can't say no. But if it is, I mean, I can definitely tell you that if it does happen, price goes up like 100%. And anything that's extra, like we do commemorative coins, we do special plaques and all that kind of stuff that goes along with this. I don't think we have it on the website, but we do a lot of special gifts. All those go away.
So fair enough.
There won't be any painted ones. Like, the painted ones will be gone forever. Like once we get to 30, they're gone. There's never any more made. So I can't say that we wouldn't make the kit again if there's a lot of interest, but there has to be enough interest to be able to do a full run.
Yeah.
And it won't be the price that it's at right now.
And then, as you mentioned,
and it'll just be the kit only. Like Ethan said, it won't come with anything. It'll just be the kit, and that's it.
So, out of fairness, all the incentives are gone and go to the people who originally back it. Yeah.
Yep.
Animal Style, everything. You can go to, what is it, merlinmodels.com? Is that what it is? Yep.
Merlinmodels.com.
Merlinmodels.com, and you can find this work of art here.
And if you want it painted, there's just a commission button to fill out a form and contact us. We want to make it very clear that we do not do factory paint jobs. There's no assembly line kind of quick layering process here. This is pure professional custom. So
it's done in house. We
do that.
It is a custom paint job from us, not from any factory. So
yeah, it's on the homepage. I don't know.
It's on the homepage, right? Yeah, down here.
Yeah.
So just scroll down a little bit and you'll find it.
Yeah, and our other kits are on there too. Like I think we have the ATSTs.
There's the dimensions: 29 inches tall, including the base. 25 inches wide.
Oh, can I read just kind of what it includes here? I didn't get a chance. So instruction manual, spiral bound, spill proof, meaning like it's if you're getting paint or if you're eating next to it, anything like that, it's kind of like just you can wipe that right off.
Yeah, I like to call it like the indestructible instruction manual.
Nice. The stand and base, which. That's another thing, right? We talked about the kit, and I say it's amazing that you're able to offer it at this price. What people don't realize, and I'll stress this again, the base and stand alone, that's an easy $400 or $500. Normally, if you're gonna go have one made for yourself, if you build a kit, if you're building a resin kit, if you're scratch building one, whatever it may be, you're still having to go to somebody to, machine this and make this for you.
Right.
And do so correctly. Do you want to feed the wires through it? Do you want to, whatever way you want to do it? And the fact that this is just a one-stop shop all done for you is amazing. So you've got the internal metal armature, metal engine housings. I love that. I love the fact that the engine housings are all metal, functional metal wing pistons, which not only adds to the aesthetic, but also adds to the structural integrity of the model. Lighting design after the vintage bulbs, another great little Easter egg in there.
They don't actually exist, which is really interesting. So there is a conversion kit for the 2 circular engines that use the exact same pattern that they use for the incandescents or mercury. I forget exactly what the type of bulb it was. So we can get an exact conversion for that for LED, but the bars do not exist. They were a very specific size, like a studio light. So we basically created them from scratch to look exactly like the original ones.
Yeah.
and they're LED as well, so no heat.
Yeah.
The crystal clear cockpit glass. You get the Boba figure, and then 25 tall, 25 wide, 29 tall, 25 wide. So it's a decent sized piece, but it's still, I think,
not horrible. Yeah, it's not horrible.
From a display perspective, yeah, it's not something that would scare somebody off. Yeah, I mean, this is and only $22.49. That's unpainted, obviously, and then if you were to go painted and commissioned for fully finished, because when it's painted, you're also building it and painting it, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Take that into consideration, guys. You're not just paying for the paint job, but it's also being built for you and painted for you.
Right.
Yeah. And then we do our own custom laser cut foam in-house for the box. We usually do our own custom box art if the box that it came in isn't the right size. Then we'll get something printed that looks really pretty. But it's a nice experience. So if you're not a model builder, you're not going to have any trouble assembling something. Like, we might not have the wings attached; they might just slide on their bars. But that's it, and then you're done.
Yeah.
Speaking of like, if you're not used to getting models in, this might just be for animal style everything, just because he says he's a complete noob. Do check out like Adam Savage. If you just Google like AT-AT build, it'll probably pop up. But like that's that's the Merlin models kit.
Yeah.
So if you want to hear someone rave about it, he was very, very impressed. Yep, there's a video. So I thought that was really, because he did say that he is used to seeing model kits, and he's like, you're not, like, you normally have to take a lot of flashing off and finish like the pieces before you could even start painting it. And he was like, this is ready for paint.
Right.
I haven't seen the videos. I think I don't know if he did it as a series, but it looked like he was doing videos of him like painting it or how he decided to display it. Because I've heard some people say some cool things, like they want to put it in like kind of like an indoors setting as opposed to a Hoth setting, which is really neat.
That would be cool. I'd love to see that.
Cool.
Jason,
Yeah.
is this you? Is this you, Jason, saying this quote?
I'm sorry.
This isn't real. Jason, this is Jason.
What is it? Wow.
It is a Jason.
It's a Jason. It's not that
Not
Jason.
the Jason.
It might be.
fine.
I need to go back through here because we do want to add more quotes and stuff like that. But
Yeah, you should.
I hired my brother to help us with website work and stuff because he's a IT professional and does customer relations for Apple. So he put these in here, and of course, not knowing who people are.
Yeah, yeah, no doubt, no doubt.
I'm sure it's very interesting to read like which
Well, they're
ones.
all
Like, oh,
legitimate.
I like
Well,
this
they're
one. This
all-
one's cool.
There are quotes I've seen. They're all legitimate.
Yeah, they are. They're all legitimate. It's just interesting to see which ones.
That's awesome.
But Jason, I'm glad you mentioned the armature because I don't remember exactly, but I think Chris said he literally had to go to like a mechanic shop. and
Yeah.
convince
So when
someone to weld it.
we got that right, well, not I don't say we, but there was a lot of kind of back and forth with that. So when like assisting indirectly, so when Chris was building that resin kit, basically what it came down to was we kind of had to decide like how is this thing going to be displayed. So we called around and finally he found just this old gentleman who owns a small machine shop, kind of like a one-stop, guy just kind of does his own thing. It's not like a big company. And he had to go and kind of figure out how it was going to work. And it ended up being a couple $100 just for the bar. I mean, just literally for the bar to feed some wires through it and be able to support the weight of it. And these are small things that I think can easily be taken for granted and easily overlooked. And it's one of those things like, oh yeah, it's a bar, it's an armature. The metal engine housings, that alone, I mean, that's another huge plus. You see so many kits and it's just resin. It's resin or plastic. The fact that you have that in metal because you're replicating what is done on the real one. On the one you see on screen, those are actually machined. So I think that's fantastic that those details were not overlooked. It's amazing. I mean, of course, you guys have done a lot of amazing work and have already designed so many amazing kits, but this is, in fairness, to say this is something special.
Thanks
Thank you
very
so
much.
much.
Really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
If
And
anybody
I-
has any questions, then feel free to message us on
shoot 'em
Facebook.
over.
I also
Shoot
think
'em over today.
Ethan should get brownie points for saying fire spray with a straight face.
Fantastic.
It's not my
It is
favorite.
it is
Turn
not
of
my
phrase.
favorite as well.
Yeah,
I think I see his left eye.
It's like a requirement, though. Like,
right.
You got to do it.
We don't want to get canceled.
Yeah.
It wasn't by choice, I know.
It wasn't by choice.
It's all right. It's good. Yeah, I think, guys, great job. I don't know, Jason. I don't know if is there any other collectible stuff that you want to go through? I mean, it's cool if Justin and Ethan want to hang around to chat.
No, like I said, we can keep it low key to the collectibles.
I've got one more thing I'd like us to talk about. Just a random thing that I would like us to talk about because I think it's interesting and I think it's the future of everything, basically.
I just say that I see the little preview of Matt's screen, so I know.
I just want to hear people's thoughts on this because I think it's where everything is going to end up going, and I just want to see what you guys think about it.
You guys gonna hang for this?
Yeah, totally.
Awesome. All right.
So we don't have to talk long about it, but I do want to talk about it.
We've talked a lot about this. We've talked a lot about this
because
we've been obsessed with this for the last few days.
I'm obsessed with it.
Yeah, same.
I think it's going to change a lot of things, and it's interesting. I hear a lot of people talk about this and they go, no, it's nothing. It's not going to do anything. And I'm just like, man, you guys have no imagination. Like this thing, this thing could do a lot. It really could do a lot. I'm not saying this product will do it. Like, I'm not saying this is the end product that's going to do that, but to
it's going
think,
to kickstart it.
Yeah. To think that this could eventually get to the point where, and why I mean it matters to us is because we all consume media and we all consume movies and TV shows and stuff that essentially is what ends up on our shelves, right? Mm-hmm. And that we collect and that we love and we're passionate about. And I just see that I feel like this thing is possibly the future of like what you're going to end up seeing these things in.
Well, Matt, remember we were talking about like the abilities you'd have for work purposes? Like Justin, think about wearing these things and like designing, doing the ingenuity of the model.
But it's not only that. Think about the lack of space that so many of us have these days, right?
Yes, that's another thing.
The lack of space that a lot of people have, and all of a sudden to be able to have a massive screen that you can watch something on that changes possibly the perception of what you're looking at or the feeling of something. I just think it's interesting to think about for the future.
Yeah, no, I think it's gonna be awesome because it allows you. They said that you could have 4K windows, so like you could have multiple 4K windows. So like right now, I'm using 3 screens to do my modeling off of. I got a nice 32-inch high-res screen, and then I have 2 27s. But with this, I'd be able to pretty much get rid of my screens,
right,
and then have like 3 or 4 4K monitors at whatever size I wanted to.
Correct.
So like being able to model on like a 108-inch screen or something would be really crazy.
Well, and it would be
being able to zoom in on pieces that are not
exactly.
Yeah,
that'd be crazy. Cece, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I think I'm answering my own question because like the only thing I've heard about this is how incredibly expensive it is, not actually what it fucking does.
It's very expensive.
Just from hearing you guys talk, like I think I'm filling in the gaps. Like I'm just thinking something very Minority Report, where you're going to be able to do stuff in a 3D space that you'd normally be using monitors or TVs for.
See, here's the thing too. We just doing more research. Me and Matt have like been going down the rabbit hole on this, and I might not be 100% correct, but I'm pretty sure this is accurate. So it's not just you can hook this up to your Mac or your PC or your Android, whatever. It's got an M2 chip where it's pretty much its own computer. It's its own standalone computer, if you will.
And it comes with the R1 chip, which is a secondary chip that runs just the calculations. So it's going to be fast.
So basically, it's for anybody who's looking at it as like a novelty item, like an Oculus or it's far beyond that.
Yeah,
it's productivity. It's processing. It's speed. It's amazing.
What I love about this is I love seeing everybody's response to this because everyone has a different response to it. And even if you look on Facebook, like people will post this in like home theater groups, right? And you'll get all kinds of people going, what does this have to do with home theater? Like this isn't going to do anything. Like this is whatever. And it's like, I get it. But you have to have a bit of imagination as to where this can go because this isn't the final situation. This is like this is like when they came out with the iPhone. Everyone thought the iPhone was crazy because it was $700 something
And the iPod.
when you were used to buying a $50 phone, $80 phone or something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
And so yeah, it was crazy at the time, but look where we are now. And so all I'm saying is that this is the first step of something that I feel like maybe not just Apple. I know Oculus is kind of coming along as well, but they could change the way we watch like content.
I mean, we do a lot of things.
Yeah,
the sports thing was so cool to see. Like they had a video where they were able to put the NBA game on your coffee table, and you could actually just look down and see all the 3D characters.
3D people,
and that is actually very close to possible because they have 360 cameras now all over the place already, so that you can watch if you have like.
Matt, you'd actually be able to do your holo chess set with the goggles.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah.
Yeah, that crazy. Yeah.
Think about it. There's going to be a lot of people who do homebrew stuff for these goggles. Like, it's not just going to be pre-packaged, formatted stuff that you can use. People are going to start developing things, to push limits. Yeah.
Maybe not Ready Player One, but more of like Fahrenheit 451. Maybe I don't.
It's really augmented. It's like augmented reality.
It is.
So it's not trying to take you away.
You got to watch the video because like they actually reenact the Ready Player One shot at the beginning when he's like putting it on and you go into the goggles. Like they do the exact same shot. It's awesome.
But here's a great thing.
And this could just this could just me being like pessimistic. I don't like just knowing how I am with VR stuff. I think this isn't going to work for me. Like I get nauseous, like directionality issues.
Sure.
So do
I don't think I'm going to end up.
No, and that's fine. I think something to think about is this is going to get better and better and better, right? So you might be nauseous right now when you look at something, but I think the idea is eventually down the road, it gets to the point where
it gets perfected or used to it.
It just gets so perfected that you don't have that feeling anymore, right? It's second nature. It is what it is.
You do get used to it.
And you get used to it, and it just feels normal. And there's a lot of people, well, not a lot of people. There's some people talking as if this will eventually take the place of an iPhone and a computer and a lot of things. Like it is going to be the thing that people actually do a lot of their stuff in. Now that doesn't mean it's going to be a ski goggles like this.
Right.
Maybe just glasses or something.
It could just be glasses. It could just be
glasses. The first version. I wouldn't be surprised in less than 3 to 5 years if these shrink down 70%.
Correct. Yeah. And they could still have this version that's the pro version that has 4K, crazy, all this stuff. But then they do the Apple Vision, or Oculus does the Quest that's not the Pro, and they're making it smaller and smaller and smaller.
You see the processing power of PlayStation. It comes out like a brick, right? That it gets. Then they're this skinny and they're just powerful. So I think eventually the same thing's going to happen with this technology.
And more affordable. They got to get into more people's hands, right?
Oh yeah.
I think at this point, what they're trying to do is they're trying to get into developers' hands to go, hey, let's make things for it, and then let's figure out what people are going to do with this, because we think it's amazing, but like, let's figure out what people actually want this for and what they're willing to do and not do with this thing. Maybe right now it's a little too heavy. Maybe it's this or that, but like, let's figure it out and kind of hone the product into what it needs to be. Right. I just find it fascinating because I just felt like when they came out with this, I felt like I was looking at the future, and that doesn't happen very often. I don't feel like with products. Like, I'm also an Apple fanboy, and I'm totally fine saying that. I'm over the moon about what they do because I'm in the Apple ecosystem. I have Apple everything because that's, I work in editing, production, all that kind of stuff. So I have all the Apple stuff. So it's definitely down my alley for this stuff. But at the same time, I find it fascinating what Facebook is, doing with the metaverse and Oculus and stuff. And man, it would be amazing if one day you could edit video with these things, and one day you could do everything that you need to do, like your audio production stuff, Jason.
That's what I'm saying. Instead of having two giant monitors side to side, being able to drag and drop tracks and overlap and edit, that'd be amazing.
Sure. And just to be able to have your screen be much larger, even if you're still using a mouse and a keyboard, to be able to have your your area that you're working with not be limited to the space you're in, and not be limited to the, your wallet, because you can't afford a massive screen, right?
Yeah.
But
or even having the
or be
space
limited to your office. Like we were
Right.
thinking with how much we collaborate remotely everywhere. So our thought is, if this is good enough, then we use all of their like business tools for collaboration, and I can be wandering around to the CNC machine and here and there in the workshop and doing all this stuff while still doing all full communication with Justin and other employees,
right,
because I can still collaborate and show and share and do all that kind of stuff,
right,
while not being attached to the desk.
Well, and think about the things. Think also about the things that they're going to connect to this thing, right? Like, let's say, okay, because people were saying, oh, in the home theater space, like, well, only one person has this thing. How does that make any sense? Well, yeah, okay, they're going to make it. It's going to get cheaper, so you can get more of them. That's fine. But also, what if you can connect the audio to your Apple TV that's connected to your home theater speakers, and then it syncs to the movie you're watching on this massive screen, but the audio is coming out in your speakers, right? So like you're getting the full experience in this giant like screen. It's like it's totally possible. It's crazy.
Yeah,
it is radical. Yeah,
it's radical.
Yeah, this is the first one that like potentially has the field of view that feels natural, and they proved already that they have the resolution. So you're not going to see pixels,
right,
at all. So like that's a huge thing. And then for me, it's like I just don't want to see black bars, and I want the refresh rate to not make me sick.
Totally.
If they nail those,
which is what CC was talking about.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which do you think now, Ethan? Here's a question, and maybe CC would know this too. Does better resolution mean you're not getting sick, or
some of it is? A lot of it's refresh rate. So it's
okay.
the speed of refreshing the lens. So if it doesn't equal your eyes, then you do a disconnect. There's a disconnect in your brain. And some people are totally fine with it, but some people aren't. Like it's being a passenger in a car. You don't know what's happening right away. So that's what causes the motion sickness most of the time, which is why I don't use VR very often.
Right.
But because they keep on getting faster and faster, and this one's supposed to have one of the fastest refresh rates, I'm very hopeful that I can get in there and it can feel like a natural environment, and anything that's on the screen looks exactly the same as far as the speed of what's going through it. So that's pretty much what I need,
Yeah, and Aaron was saying the only thing I really disliked was the demo where the father with his daughter and her birthday completely separate. And I understand that now.
But we're going in that direction.
Yeah, anyway. But the thing to think about, Aaron, and this is where I come back to this like ecosystem of like, Apple will start with, hey, record with this thing and you can record 3D. What it's going to happen as they go along is the phone will be able to take 3D video that can then be viewed in the Vision Pro. And then you're doing the same thing you're doing now. Because remember, this is exactly what people said was going to be a problem like 5 years ago.
Yeah, the FaceTime people
or 6-7 years ago when they were like, you're gonna be in front of your phone while you're watching like someone's birthday. How many times have you seen someone filming someone's birthday with their phone? That's just like what people do now. Like it's just a normal thing. Now we can have the conversation of, is that okay? That's totally fine. I can understand that, but I think that's where eventually it's going to go. You might still have this for a while and be able to take video like this, but eventually it could get down to where it's not like this. It's not dystopian like this. It's like glasses. And it just looks, you're still seeing people's eyes. You're still seeing people's faces, and they're able to record you. And now that's a whole nother problem. If people are able to record you
that's
what I was actually thinking of what Far From just said, where it's like, that's going to creep me out if it gets into the like after dark realm of.
Oh, of course it will, though. That's what pushes everything forward.
You know what? There's going to be plenty of people who buy this just for that.
Yeah, that's what pushes everything forward.
But I will stand by what I said, Matt. I said to the other day, guys, I said, it's a big ticket item, but for this type of technology, I don't think that price tag is going to scare anybody off. I just don't.
Well, it's not for everybody. That's fine.
It's not for everybody, but I also don't think it's going to be scary. $3,500.
Yeah.
Honestly,
there's going to be plenty of people that buy it.
I mean, it's essentially the MacBook Pro.
Exactly. It's the cost of a laptop. Yeah.
What were you saying, CC?
That's like 2 Prime 1 statues.
I get it. I totally get it. And that's why I'm not saying Cece, I would never go to you, Cece, and go, Cece, I think you should buy a Vision Pro for the.
I'm saying for the people that they're marketing this for,
Totally.
for the Apple fanboys, I feel like that's not a high price.
It's not. But that said, you got to remember that this is also a
first
gen. Like,
Right.
get in on this when it just came out. People
It's gonna
love
get
that
cheaper.
shit. It will get way cheaper.
Gen 2 will probably be half the price, or $8.99 or something like that. Who knows? Like 5 years from now.
Yeah, dude. Did you see the Grogu? Did you see the Mandalorian thing that they showed?
Because they partnered up with Disney on this.
Yeah, so they got Disney hooked up with like doing special ways to watch like the Disney content and stuff. It's amazing.
Oh, wow.
It is
dude,
really
we're gonna be
cool.
we're gonna be doing Shelter in Space with the goggles on.
Yes, dude. Hell yes. And you'll see my weird ass eyes through the goggles. Dude, if I can find the Disney thing, it was so amazing.
I know that got me excited just to see like, okay, this is the future of entertainment in such a cool way.
And the fact that you can dial it in and out of reality, it's just like that's
I know.
A pretty
See,
cool
I want to find that for you because it's really cool.
See,
I could see like a commercial of like some woman coming home and asking her husband like, "Did you do the laundry?" And he's like, I didn't get a chance to get to it. It's like, were you doing the Vision thing? And he's like, no. And he's like,
doing the Vision thing.
And she's like, really? Really?
You get the mask line.
Yeah, just like the indent of the whole ski mask on your face.
The thing that makes me most excited about this is, unlike everything that's come before it, especially, and I'm not an Apple fanboy by any means. I'm not anywhere near Matt in that sense, but I do think Apple doesn't mess around. This isn't a novelty item. This isn't for fun or novelty or, oh, this is a cool little thing that you might go out, run out and buy, and then use it for a month, and then it sits on your desk and collects dust. Like, I think this is going to be an item that you can use for numerous applications, and it's entertainment, it's work, and then you're going to get to the point where, like you guys had mentioned, you're just going to get well adjusted to it. It's going to be second nature, and then it's just going to keep progressing. It's going to get smaller, more powerful, and I do think this is a next step towards what direction we're going to be moving in. Mm-hmm. And Matt, you made a good point with, whether it was, I remember people talking trash about FaceTime, like, knocking that or filming things on your phone. It was laughed at. Then we're talking about 2015, 2016. It wasn't that long ago.
I know. And that's why I would be just very careful if you're someone that's skeptical at all about this stuff. Like, just be careful how you talk about things, because the comments age so poorly with those things when people are like, this isn't going to do anything, like whatever. It's like, all right, like you can say what you want about it, but like, I wouldn't mess around with both Apple and Facebook putting a shit ton of money into this. Like, it's going to be crazy. It's going to be crazy. That doesn't mean this is going to be the end result here, but.
Wait, Matt, you were telling me about this. Aaron says, sitting in the land speeder. I didn't see that video watching.
Yes.
Star Wars. Apart from Death Star, now this could even be a cool idea to like new content, like seeing a virtual collection.
I know, it's crazy.
The goggles on and being in somebody's collection and looking through it. That's cool.
It's crazy, man. There's all kinds of shit you could do. But to Aaron's point here, the land speeder. So Cece, I wish I had I can't find the picture for some reason, but it's basically like you look to your right and there's a massive like what's that thing called? The Sandcrawler, yeah. It's a massive sandcrawler to your right. Then you look over here and there's a big screen showing Mandalorian, and you're sitting in a land speeder watching the Mandalorian on this, like, it's in this desert.
Movie.
It's so freaking cool. And the screen's massive, and like it was really cool. And that's the thing. They were doing even things where you could watch a show and have like a map of where they are in the galaxy, showing you where this thing that you're watching is, and then just all kinds of really cool stuff. It's interesting, and especially like Ethan was saying, for sports, it's a whole nother thing for sports. Like, I mean, that's a whole nother, like they own ESPN too, so like they can do with Disney, they can do all kinds of stuff with ESPN.
They already have a DraftKings version.
I'm telling you, man, it's going to be crazy.
And that's why the price is going to come down quick, because you get one. You are the only guy that can watch football or basketball on your coffee table, but you got 5 guys coming over to drink beers and do it. There's no way you're going to spend 20 grand on that novelty, I think. So it has to be a similar experience for cheaper, you know?
Right. Yeah. Because I don't think I don't think the idea is let's make ourselves more recluse. That's not what I don't think that's what Apple wants. I don't think that's what anybody wants, because I think they know in general, like, we don't, as humans, we don't do well with that, and we need other people.
These are augmented reality glasses.
Right.
And these are what we're messing with right now to try to see if we can do a little bit of productivity with them as we're kind of preparing for this. So this has screens inside, and it will repeat or extend your desktop, or you can use it for your Steam Deck or whatever you want to do and play games on its own screen. But you put them on and you can see through them. And you could put a black cover over the top, and it's a closed experience, and you get a better screen. But the screen on this for $300 is still very bright. It's 1080p. It's good quality. And yet it's still nothing like what the Vision Pro is going to be in field of view.
Right.
But all you've got to do is be able to fill these screens and have like a curve on the lenses so that you get the peripherals filled up. And that's it. And all the computer processors for this is already in there.
Ethan, how do you like that?
We're just starting to mess with it, because I used it a little bit for the deck, and I was like, it's kind of whatever. Because a lot of these are really just screen repeaters. So unless you have the right software, they don't like stay in place. They move with your head, and that can get really annoying. But with a Mac, they will stay in place.
Yeah, with Nebula.
So we're slowly trying to figure out how to integrate Mac into our Windows workflow, because we can't get rid of our $10,000 Windows computers that we use for rendering and doing 3D modeling work. I'm not going to switch to a studio for that, just because we need to be constantly upgrading, and studios don't work really well for just switching stuff out, like NVIDIA graphics cards and stuff. But we're thinking use Mac OS on top of it, and we're going to remote our Windows computers onto the Macs as long as we don't get any latency, and that's going to allow us to take advantage of all the Macintosh productivity workflows and collaboration workflows and team workflows.
But also, guys, imagine something like like your company, where you have a bunch of pieces of things that need to be built. I mean, imagine like Lego, right? Mm-hmm. People like building things. They just like to build things. That doesn't mean that they need it in their house and taking up space necessarily, but they do like to build things. It would be crazy if one day you could just go, hey, what model do you want to build? Okay, here are all the pieces. And here's the instructions, and you can build the model, just like Legos, right? Legos is going to do something with this, where they have a toy box of Legos. What do you want to build, right? And
that's a genius idea, dude. Because you could build your own Slave One and then put that in your virtual living room or whatever. Yeah. Because it would work.
It would be really cool.
NFTs.
That's awesome.
Studio scale NFTs.
And you could make as many. And you could make as many. You could also make it to where you have an easy button where it's like it shows you where to put the piece, or
like highlights it or something.
Yeah, you don't have to do that. You could do like a harder where you actually have to do it yourself, or you could do an easy one where it's like put the piece here, and then you're building this thing, and it's taking time, and it's like
for you can gamify it, like every piece you put down gets a sticker. You get a sticker. You did a good job.
Exactly.
Achievement unlocked.
Exactly. But I'm just saying, there's so many opportunities.
But the best part about all this is none of this is far-fetched.
No.
It's all within reach.
No, and then you do something like that, and they also allow you to bring up a screen where you're watching Star Wars, right? And then all of a sudden you have everything you need, like other than food to put in your mouth, like like you're building something while you're watching Star Wars, while you're like it's just, how cool would that be? That'd be freaking awesome. I'm just saying, there's a lot to it. What's that?
We never talk to Chris ever again.
Yeah, well, I mean, Chris would just be like, making his models. I mean, it's just really cool. It would be. I think there's a lot of applications for it, and it's just a matter of like, how imaginative can you be? It's just
I think she meant something else by that.
Yeah, well.
No, I mean, I was talking about the fact that like building models, but like the other component. Oh yeah, he's gonna have the rim over his eyes, like the total intent.
And the tough part is how, like, it's a limit of your imagination, right? But it's also, human beings are disgusting, and like, like, will everyone just be in like a porn room or something? Like that's a problem, right? It is a problem. We are
relationships will suffer from this.
I agree.
Not unless you get her a headset too.
Oh, there you go. Justin's thinking here.
Just equality, honestly.
You don't want to touch each other. You want to, virtually do things.
There's a Black Mirror episode that was basically that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
There's been people that have talked about Black Mirror with this.
Like, babe, you're lagging. You're not loading anymore.
Exactly.
You're not loading. You're frozen.
Come into the other room. Come into the other room.
You could have frozen
Anyway,
the worst time.
I didn't want to take us. Obviously, I took us off track, but I just really find that super interesting. And I just think it will change a lot. And
it will change our company 100%,
which is really cool.
We're planning for it. And
I'm glad we got to talk about
it
because there could have been a lot of scenarios where it was like, what are we bringing this up for? But no, I'm glad we got to talk about it.
No,
We've been obsessed with it since it's
oh yeah, massively obsessed. Massively. It's ridiculously priced. I probably will get one mainly because it does affect what I do. Like, I work in video production, and I can actually see, like, we need to know how to make content for something like this at some point.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I do want to figure that out, but I also just want to get one. But I don't know.
It's already rationalized.
I don't know if they're going to make enough. I don't know if they're going to make enough of them. Like,
it's going to be a tough one. Yeah, we're starting to save up to make sure that we can afford them. Yeah. Just on the off chance, it's a big decision, but we're expecting that it's going to be good, so we're going to start planning for it.
It's right around the corner. I think we're only 6 months off.
Yeah, 6 months off.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Q1
At first, I was sad. I was like, "Oh, it's not available yet." But then I was like, "Oh, we don't have any money. We could get it if we wanted to. We have to save up for this."
Yeah,
it's gonna be people camping outside because we did look up like how it was selling, where it was selling, and it's basically Apple.com only, like no third-party retail. So you either have to go to the Apple Store or Apple Online. So people are gonna be camping outside for this.
It's gonna be crazy, guys.
I saw a video recently. I wonder if that's why, like, it was relevant to this. It was like a news station was like interviewing the people who had camped out overnight to get the first iPhone, and this woman spent $800 buying the spot of the guy who was first because she wanted to buy like 100 phones. Jeez. And then she walks in and they're like, "It's one per customer."
That's
loser.
Yeah.
Dude,
I don't like those people.
I saw.
I understand it, capitalism. But
I don't know if it's a YouTube video or something where this guy had bought a ton of Apple products and just never opened them. So he has them in like mint in boxes, and now he can sell all of these products for like ridiculous amounts of money because he's got like the Apple One. He's got like all these like
all the retro stuff. People are always like,
it's pretty amazing.
Like, oh, I want the first version. It's like, man, the first version is like $10,000 now. So
it's crazy, man. It's crazy.
I don't know where my first generation iPod Shuffle is, but I have it somewhere. And then I still have the third gen. I still use it. People think I'm crazy.
So funny. Cece, what iPhone do you have? What number?
I don't. My work phone is an iPhone 11, but my personal phone is an Android. It's a Galaxy S23.
Same here. My personal is an Android. My work's iPhone.
Do you have the newest iPhone, Jason, with your work, or is
the one before?
Okay,
it's from 2021.
Nice.
My laptop is the special edition Force Awakens Star Wars HP.
Hell yeah!
Nice.
Still awesome. Kicking.
Nice.
I love it. I
do the same thing with my computer. I have my PC. I'm on a Samsung now, but I also use a Mac for work. So when I'm doing audio production, I use a Mac.
Yeah. Justin, Ethan, are you guys Apple people or Android? Microsoft?
Android.
Okay. Yep. Nice.
But again, it could change. We're messing with this stuff now just to see how it's going to work.
Well,
now, one thing is, like, I want to keep my personal life and business life separate. So
I got
stick
you.
with Android for personal phone, just so I don't carry it around. But the iPad is going to be where all Discord and all that stuff goes.
iPad today.
To keep track of it.
Yeah. Well, dude, the Apple Pencil with all that stuff. I mean, that thing is, dude, that's the truth right there.
Like, I've used Cintiqs and stuff for art and all that, but like, this pencil is insane.
It's crazy.
Like, I've been messing around with it today because I finally got an iPad.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, this is like perfect.
It's crazy, dude.
It's so good.
We're going to start doing all of our stuff in freeform.
Oh,
all
cool.
of our project management is going to be in freeform. That's kind of the plan. so we could
That's
FaceTime
awesome.
and freeform all of us together and just keep one board that has everything in one spot. And that's like
all our notes.
it's a big thing for us because
I love
project
it.
management sucks. You
It
know?
does. It really does.
Mhm.
I hear you, man. Jason, give me 1 second. I'll be right back.
Yeah. I think that I think there's definitely a lot of possibilities there, and the fact that it's right in front of our face is even better. You know, talking about technology that could be or may possibly be, you know, sometime in the future is one thing, but talking about something that is actually happening is another.
Mhm.
It is exciting to think that these are things that you could apply to even your business or what I do for work or what Matt does for work. It's interesting.
Yeah, one thing that was kind of really selling me on it was like they were showing them working and showing messaging and stuff, and he had a 3D model, and then they were all able to talk about, view the 3D model in 3D
And
as
go
if it was in
through
front of
and
them, and they could check it out and be like, oh, that looks awesome, you know, like that's pretty cool, because I could make something and then show our, you know, everyone, and be like, oh, that looks pretty good, or, you know, what do you think of this? Spend all night on this one, you know.
Yeah, that's a big leap from jumping on like a FaceTime and trying to discuss things and and moving parts around. This is correct, and look at this and try that, and I think that's I mean that's moving mountains, man. It's amazing. Or even, I know this sounds silly, and I'm not even trying to make a joke, but the first thing I thought about was like, well, even for reference, right? I'm like, well, look at Chronicles, the PDF. It's like I prefer that over the book because I can put it on my laptop and pinch and zoom. Imagine having it on a movie theater size screen where you can just what's this piece?
Be like,
I know what that is now. There's so many things to be able to ID that you otherwise. We're looking at these old grainy images from the 80s, right, with these like washed out tones, and now you can put it on this big, huge, bright screen, and you know, it's just so many things. It really is one of those things that I think is pretty exciting.
Yeah,
man.
On the statue side of things, did you guys watch the Queen Studios Facebook video of Catwoman, the 1/3 Catwoman, and her aircraft case that she comes in?
No, is it crazy?
No, I want to see that. Did you see it?
Huge.
I saw a picture of the case. I think it was in a group chat I'm in where someone.
Was that a recent one? I'm gonna look it up.
It's a full road case.
It was Tuesday, something like that. They dropped a 2-minute reels type thing, because I've got it on order, and now I'm like, that's gonna cost $1,000 to ship.
Oh,
literally an aircraft case. Oh my god,
huge.
Yeah, she looks. I'd leave the goggles on, but she looks really good. Did you get the 1/3 then?
Yeah, I got the 1/3. Yeah,
I think
that's gonna complete what I've got so far.
Can I ask? Are we talking about Anne Hathaway or Michelle Pfeiffer?
Yeah,
or
Anne Hathaway. Yeah,
it's her on the Bat Pod, Jay.
Oh, okay, that one.
That's why it comes.
Just go to Queen Studios Facebook page, and then it should be pretty.
The tires are go-kart tires, like actual rubber go-kart tires. Like,
are they really?
They're huge. They're like
they roll.
Dude, just rolling around on the floor in the studio. And then J&D just teased, I think imminently we're going to see pictures of their Christopher Reeve Superman. And they announced, I think today, that they're doing a Clark Kent version as well.
Oh, shit. Oh, wait, you're talking about, okay, let me see here.
Kind of like what they did with,
shipping is
with Christian Bale as Bruce Wayne and also Batman.
I have to get that. My dad loves Christopher Reeves.
I'm not on the classic fan. I like the...
It's good. I'm not getting it, but he's my Superman. Like I think I watched those as a kid before I even watched the Keaton Batman.
I don't think I've seen them all the way through, like both Batman and Superman, the originals. Like my introduction to like hardcore comic-y nerd stuff was Dark Knight. Like that was my intro.
You're talking about this thing right here?
Yeah. That's it.
Dude, look at the size of that thing.
It is a road case, man. Like it's crazy. Oh.
Nope. Button.
He was too excited. Like, look at that.
Jeez.
I'm like, why?
Wow.
I mean, it's cool, but why?
It's,
I mean, it ain't getting broken.
That's crazy, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the base that you just took out?
Yeah. That was the base.
This thing is freaking massive. Like, I have to design a case specifically for this.
Wow, dude.
But she looks.
Oh, this is the one where she's laying on the
Yeah.
motorcycle? Yeah. Okay.
I always want, I don't know why I always think this. I always wonder, like, all right, like, what does Anne Hathaway think when she sees this? Because it looks just like her.
Yeah.
It is spot on.
Yeah, they did a good job. And she's like, "Oh, look, it's a little me," you know, like.
Think of like, right? If this, like, wouldn't you guys collect this of yourself if there was right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
I'd buy this shit.
like, I wondered, do they think it's weird? Is it creepy? Is it cool? I don't know.
It's super creepy, but I'd still buy it.
It's like the painting of yourself in like the foyer. Something, but it's like it's a model.
Yeah, I agree with you, CC. Like, the glasses have to be on her.
Yeah.
Oh, that's freaking
Wow.
crazy, dude.
That's what someone posted today. I don't know if it was just Delaney, was like, oh, it's only a few days away before J&D reveals the Christopher Reeve. So I gave it like T-minus 3 days before they give us a close-up of them inserting a fake eye in the face. Because they're always, J&D's always doing that to show,
They
like,
love that, yeah.
we use
Like,
dentures,
rubber
and we use
face.
real glass eyes. And
Yeah.
Stacey, that actually made it onto Street Art Globe. They cover like a lot of contemporary and urban art, and they actually went to J&D Studios to show like how they make it, put the glass eyes in and the teeth in.
The Harley Quinn one. Yeah.
The Harley Quinn, yeah.
Yeah.
I was like,
This
wow,
is-
it crossed over into the art world.
Fake teeth. You know, just
This
like
is
when
crazy,
you put
man.
the dentures in there. you know?
Yeah.
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 I mean, that's ridiculous, bro.
Okay, guys. So to get this level of accuracy, this isn't just sculpting. They had to scan Anne's face, right?
Usually, that's what they do. If you have a license, is you will get access to their all movie stars, all big movie stars have scans that they own of themselves to use in CG. So they would probably get access to that. But aside from that, that's pretty much it.
Well, they do some scans for movies, like when they start the movie too, don't they?
Yeah.
Don't they do like?
yeah.
I know it's
like-
I know it's common that it's in their dossier now. It's like part of their resume
Yeah.
is you've got to scan it yourself. Now,
Right.
whether they do more scans for that particular role, I assume that there's a lot more stuff that goes on.
Yeah.
But my guess is that they got her scan, but it's not enough. Scans are not clean.
Yeah.
It's just a starting off point.
Yeah.
Well, and I know it's
So-
a totally different company, but like then you got J&D with the Christopher Reeve,
Mhm.
where it's like it's gonna I don't think his likeness is that easy to do. So we'll see.
No, I feel like they struggled just a little bit with the Gal Gadot classic Wonder Woman.
Hmm.
I think they did better with the first one, but
Dude, could you ride this
it's
thing?
hard.
Is it that
It's hard
like?
to do.
Yeah,
I don't think it's that strong.
I don't
I
know.
mean, it's gotta be. It's just polystone, but
Could you
afraid of
put
it
a-
just snapping.
Could you put a monkey on it?
Probably.
Oh,
If it's
sure.
like
Put a
Probably,
hamster
right?
in the seat.
There you
Well, did you read the fine print? You need to insure it. You need insurance.
Dude, I would love it if you put a little like. If you put a little circus monkey on this thing, holy
But I
shit.
had.
It's just got the little Batman cowl on him.
That'd be amazing, dude.
Yeah.
That'd be funny.
Send him down a ramp. Oh gosh, bro. That's crazy, bro. That's crazy that it's like actually a motorcycle. I mean, it kind
How
of, you know
much
what I
is
mean?
this?
Like,
How much is this piece all in? Does anybody know?
It was
3?
3 something.
but again, I think it's going to end up being 4.
Yeah,
Once I
really?
put that aircraft case.
Shipping.
Yeah.
yeah, Farm Duster says, "Oh shit, we didn't think of a plan for the box to ship it in. Just get one of those crates from the shipping docks at the port.
Fill
Yeah,
with them.
Go into the Indiana Jones warehouse and get one of those giant crates. Pull it out, send it in that.
Yeah.
Speaking of, it's funny. So Matt, do you want me to start opening the boxes for?
Oh yeah,
Boba?
open.
So it's 2 boxes. It's supposed to be 3, but I actually had already sold my base. So I'm just getting like the chair he's in
That's
and
right.
him.
Yep.
So I'm going to open what I think is the chair first, just because that was the heavier of the boxes. I will say I was worried because it said it was 2 boxes, but I swear both these boxes are smaller than their normal boxes, which makes sense. Like I think the one we had for Empress Nest is a lot bigger than
Right.
both of these boxes. It's still 2 boxes, but still.
Ethan and Justin, you know she's opening the Boba NYC Boba Fett.
Oh, the bubble on
on
throne.
Throne,
Okay, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And if you want to mute me, go ahead, because I'm just gonna. I've got the boxes off to the side, so I just gotta.
Yeah, you're good. I'll mute you.
So
then,
I'm curious about the Anne Hathaway statue, right? So on eBay, there's a bunch listed for only like $1,500. Are those like bootleg or something?
Those are going to be the 1/6 scale because they did two versions.
1/6. Oh, okay.
So Queen Studios started doing. They did a 1/6 scale Joker and the 1/6 scale Catwoman. Then they started what they call In Art, which is their luxury 1/6 scale line. So this was before In Art, though they're folding it into it, I guess. So
this thing's crazy.
That's kind of where that started. Their 1/6 are ridiculous. Totally.
I was gonna say the 1/6 looks just as good.
So you got to find the ones with the hair.
Right? Yeah.
So they always sell a version either sculpted hair or real hair.
Plucked
the real hair looks freaking ridiculous.
Wow.
And this is it, right? The real hair.
That's the pin hair. Yeah.
I mean, if they ever settle down in price, even though I have 2 Jokers already, just to have this for like desk piece, I don't know. It's very good.
Yeah.
It's crazy, dude. Freaking crazy, man. The level that they're doing this to. I mean, this is just stupid, but whatever. They do it's cool because I feel like is it them and Prime? Does them and Prime 1 do Jurassic Park stuff? You don't see a lot. I don't feel like you see a lot of Jurassic Park stuff.
Agreed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, this is the Alita one.
Dude,
Alita one, I bet is huge too, isn't it?
I think it's a good size. Yeah. I really like this one.
Oh, is this the bust? Or is it?
No, I think this is the figure.
Which one?
We found.
Got to be the figure. Yeah.
We found one of their factories.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So if we ever, well, not ever, we are going to be getting into the painted game at some point with other stuff, not Star Wars stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm curious how much quality we can pull out of them.
Dude, that's awesome.
Particular.
That like at this level, you gotta get shit right, man.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah. So far, as far as like mass market, Queen has the paint job game down because I don't consider J&D like mass market.
Sure. Dude, this thing is crazy too.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
I freaking love Alita, dude. I love that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think they have another one where it's when she's in her battle armor.
Do they have actual hair? Like, is the battle one where she has actual like rooted hair?
I don't know if there's one with her with real hair except for a bust. Maybe I don't think there's a statue.
I think the bust is the only one with the actual plucked hair.
I can't do the Transformer shit, dude. It just looks like a pile of metal.
I'm not a fan of the new style. I'm more of the original.
Yeah, the original. Yeah, sure.
Which I think Prime 1 does a couple of the like, it's like a old style looking, but it's got like a little bit of a newer tweak to it as far as like detail wise. And I'm like, those look pretty good. I really like those.
Moth, the silicone sculpts will actually last quite a long time because it is sealed. So as long as you avoid a lot of UV light, which will tend to dry it out, then I think it's going to be okay. Like I'm banking on it because these are all silicone. But it is not a just raw silicone product.
Dude.
And silicone is very different than rubber. So it will harden slowly over time, but it's not going to be necessarily crack unless you put it in a bad place.
Dude, this little midget cape he's got on is amazing. Like, it really is incredible.
Yes,
these are
fantastic piece.
These are almost too good when you see like the Chris Evans or the Chris Hemsworth or the Doctor Strange. I just like this. Like, look at the approach.
That's insane.
It's like putting a person on display in your home.
It's crazy.
But like, hold on, I need to go comb his hair today.
It's like it is. It's like
we're about to have company over.
It's crazy, man.
Like
he's even got like grays in his goatee. Like it's so like some of them even have like the pores and like the skin. You know, it's
golly. Yeah.
It's unbelievable, dude. I mean, so if you get something like this, when you get it in, are you having to like redo all the hair stuff, or do they keep it pretty? Like, do you guys know that? Like,
I don't know of anybody who has a bust, so I have no idea. Like, I know with these guys, the hair is pretty stiff, but you can massage it a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm assuming with them, there's going to be more massaging, but they come very wrapped, so they'll style it, and then whatever material they put in there that's like hair gel but permanent, it'll come styled, but then you might have a little bit of like futzing with it.
Yeah, I saw. I forget who I was watching, but somebody had the Tom. Was it Tom?
Tom Holland?
No.
Oh no, Tom Hiddleston.
Hiddleston. They had the Tom Hiddleston one, and they
Oh,
didn't have
Loki?
Yeah, they took the horns off, and his hair was like perfectly, and it wasn't sculpted. It was like hair, and it was like perfectly wavy and wet looking, and I was just like, that's too next level for me.
Is this a full size situation, or is this like
that might be the life size one? Yeah.
Dude,
Kind of want that.
I kind of want that. Holy shit,
Crazy.
dude.
Someday.
And it's incredible, man. It really is.
I want their Hulkbuster.
This one's pretty good too. Is this like it's okay.
He's
like
fine.
His Queen Studios is crazy. What he's got the metal.
crack.
Yeah,
That is a massive throne.
Whoa.
Oh, she's muted.
Oh, sorry.
Here we go.
There we go. Wow.
I'm
That's
sweating.
huge.
Whoa.
Damn, Cece, where are you gonna put that?
Yeah, that's
I
a
have a
showpiece.
spot for it. I think
Holy
it's
shit.
Is that one company comes over to watch TV?
Cece, did you know you had to have known it was this big, right? You knew this dimensions?
Yeah, hence I didn't want the dais that it sits on because that's like even bigger than this as far as like how wide it is.
Dude, my daughter could sit in that chair. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
too.
I mean, so like for scale, here's my phone.
Yeah, I mean, I see the scale. You're holding it. Like,
Yeah.
it looks like a
Is that
tiny.
solid polystone?
I
It
see the skill. You're holding it.
Well, it looks like something you buy
it
it.
always looks bigger on camera because like I did that with my life-size Hellboy. Like it looks a different size until you have
It's bigger on
something
camera, Cece. Tell everybody about it.
It looks a lot bigger right there because it's closer to the camera.
Yeah, no, I get that. I know what perspective is, but I'm just saying it looks like something you'd buy at Pottery Barn Kids.
I don't think it can't
Like,
all
it's-
be polystone.
It's
I think it
freaking
would be
huge.
It feels
Crazy heavy.
Sorry,
feels
Barn
solid.
Kid, you're nuts. It does look like that.
maybe
Maybe it's
just
solid
smaller in
polystone?
the center. That's solid.
Cece, how do you like the paint job on it? Is it cool? It looks good.
It looks good. The I think that's. Let me see.
Barb from Death Star says we don't know the scale until you hold an apple next to it.
No, banana. You need a banana.
Sideshoe style, right?
Hold a pickle next to it.
There you go.
Oh, there you go.
There you go.
Yeah, perfect.
It's tiny. Okay, yeah.
The paint looks good. I like the faux bronze on. There's some overspray on one side, but not on the other.
Is it felt on the bottom, Cece? or
Yeah,
is it-
the whole bottom's felted, which
That's
is
cool.
nice.
Cool.
That's really cool.
That is good.
What's that?
Yeah, because normally it's actually sitting on another piece, right?
Yeah, the concrete or stone thing.
I had
yeah.
asked just to make sure this wasn't gonna like peg into anything,
Right.
and it doesn't. It's felt all the way on the bottom.
That's really
Hence,
cool.
it doesn't have the NYC sticker, which is kind of what I was expecting. But yeah, the other side doesn't have it. But there's a little bit of overspray on the gargoyle.
Okay.
Mhm.
It's still
Here at
cool
the
though. It looks
base.
beautiful.
Okay.
You grabbing the other stuff?
Yeah, I got one more box.
Okay. So, Cece, this thing normally comes in 3 boxes then? Because the base...
Yeah, so the
Okay.
die is part, like the big platform would be presumably in one box.
Dude, can you imagine how big this thing would be if you had the dais? Holy shit.
That's why I got rid of
Cece.
it because I was like, it kind of reminds me of like your Bausch. It's basically like that. Doesn't she have like
Yeah.
it's the stairs, but then it also has a bottom piece? So
Yeah,
funny enough,
yeah.
I told Michael I wasn't gonna display it with that piece because it's gonna be too big.
Right.
I want to put this on like a pedestal looking thing. And he said that someone had reached out to him asking if they could just buy that separately because it's a guy in Germany who has like his old Ula statue
Yeah.
and wanted to put like Ula, I think, and Leia like on the same kind of base.
Oh, I got you. Yep.
So that also saved me on shipping because it meant I got 2 boxes instead of 3. Yeah,
Always a
I'm gonna
plus.
go ahead and mute me because I'm gonna open up the other box.
Okay.
So
All
She doesn't want to hear.
Stuff.
Doesn't want us to hear her cussing.
Exactly. Guys, what are we doing? Not enjoying this lovely StreamYard music that we can have behind us. Had shame on us. Bro, some of these, look at this. This is awesome. Some of these, my God.
Look at the dark side. Who made that?
Which one? The dark side?
This is all Queen.
Queen.
This is Queen as well. Whoa! Let me see that.
Yeah, it looks awesome.
Yeah, dude, look at this thing. Let me turn this down.
That's insane.
Lo-fi beats with dark side over top of it. Come on, man.
Heck yeah.
I love that they do that, where like the back is like a little diorama.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
They do that with a lot of them, don't they? They did that with Joker, didn't they? Where he had like
with Jack Wynn's Joker. Yeah, he's sitting at the mirror.
Jack Wynn Joker.
Jack Wynn Joker.
Freaking love it, dude. Oh, what's this?
Hey,
Let's not do that.
How you
buy me.
I know, right?
Oh,
Damn, dude.
See, come on.
Yeah.
You really want that
yeah.
That's crazy,
Cool.
bro.
Henry Cavill is my Superman. I love Henry Cavill.
Oh, I did too.
And he's
I did
a
too.
nerd, so it just makes it all better.
Big time.
He's
nerd,
one of
man.
us.
Are they bringing him back in? By the way, like, is that
No.
happening?
They rebooted
gone.
They rebooted DC again.
Did they
Yeah.
really?
Like, how many times are you
Yeah.
going to reboot DC?
I listened to that whole like James Gunn thing that they talked about, where they basically put the kibosh on him, right?
I don't understand. He is like a really, really good perfect Superman.
He's
Like,
perfect
like,
Superman.
Oh, he's got the look. He acts the
Yeah.
role. Like he nails it. Yeah.
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 I was really bummed when they said he was gone. I'm just like,
But see, here's what I don't understand: are they rebooting? Are they including the Flash? Because the new Flash movie is supposed to be amazing.
No, Flash is out. Like that's
out too.
they rebooted it, and then the Flash is still coming out, and it doesn't have anything to do with happening in the future. But they've been doing this every like 3 or 4 years. I just don't get it. Like, can't you put something
Stick to
together
something.
and create something that lasts? I mean, you have the perfect
Amazing, isn't it?
look at Marvel. Do it.
Right,
Why
yeah.
not? But somehow they're just like, we want to make it dark, and we don't want to have a really good story.
Dude,
just
look at
kind of
the
a good story.
Detail on this.
I don't know.
Freaking. It's crazy, bro.
Oh,
Oh,
look
look,
at
they've
the,
got the
look
little.
at the
They got
face.
the little.
that's cool. The Kal-El.
It
Wow,
looks like
that
it
kind of
looks like
creeps me out a
It
little
looks
bit.
like he has a
having-
baby. It looks like
It's
he's
a
having
little layered, yeah.
having
Yeah.
having baby fetus.
Yeah, it looks like he's actually gonna have a
Yeah.
baby. That's kind of weird, but I get it, and it looks.
It's a cool detail in its own right, but
It is.
No,
Turn it around, put it so it's hidden by the cape at least.
it just makes me
Yeah.
think of Death Stranding. And like, gross.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. How is that? Did you guys try that game?
No, too weird. I heard it's not even like a linear thing, so it's
walking
just
simulator.
very strange.
Interesting. Yeah. I was tempted to
No.
try that. Oh, you can cover it up.
Oh, okay, perfect.
He's like, thank God.
We're
I was saying,
doing
it does-
Diablo right now.
It does look. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, that's good.
Damn,
Dude, I
dude.
feel like having this in your home, you can always be like, you get something in your teeth. You know, like it's so real.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
He's even
It
got a little
says,
bit of yellow
keep-
to the eye.
Keeping Ezra Miller but booting Cavill sounds about right for Hollywood.
That's right. Yeah,
Right.
yeah. Keep
I know.
the horrible human being and throw
Yeah.
out the.
Yeah,
really
that's
nice guy.
Wacko, right?
Really awesome, dude. It's okay. He's doing Warhammer, so that'll
Oh,
be
that's
fun.
right. That's right. He's in charge of it or something like that, or
He's in
like a
charge
big
of it.
piece of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's
Feel
a
like that.
super nerd for Warhammer. So like,
Is he?
I think, oh yeah, the kid, that is his jam. So he said like it's one of his like obsessions is Warhammer. So I think he's gonna make sure that it's done right.
Yeah, he paints minis and all that kind of stuff. It's like you're just a nerd like all of us.
Yeah, he almost didn't get his Superman. He even said he almost didn't get his Superman part because he was playing WoW and
Oh, that's
was
right.
waiting, and he's just like, "Oh, dang it! You know, I gotta go to this audition."
I remember hearing that.
Like that's how hardcore of a game he is. It's just so funny.
Oh, now this is not good. What's this?
That's
Is it the smaller one, or is it?
what is that?
I don't know.
That
It looks-
reminds me. No, that's not the. It reminded me like first off of Prime One, but
This
no.
is.
What is that?
I don't know. It's not good.
That's
Uh-oh.
not. Yeah, that's like glossy heaven.
So like their first attempt.
Couldn't resist sharing this amazing Heath Ledger joke. Oh, it's a 1/6. It's got
Maybe
to
it's
be
not made by
somebody
them?
else.
Yeah, I
Oh,
don't
it's
think it's made by them.
In art?
Oh, maybe somebody repainted theirs or something.
Well, they did a horrible.
We couldn't
job.
resist sharing this amazing because they didn't say ours. They just said
Right.
this. So it's got to be somebody else's custom or something.
I don't
It's
think it's
stuff-
their sculpture either because the face looks a little
No,
different.
it's not.
It's stuff. of
Yeah,
my-
it doesn't look. It looks a little off, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Matt, be nice.
It looks like someone's got a mask on top of their face. Like look at his eyes. Like they're like inset. No.
It's a little
I think
funky.
I think it's the photography possibly because if you look at this in the little photos to the left, it's the same pose. So maybe
Yeah.
it is their non-real hair version, but somebody janked it or just totally
Dude, I don't
destroyed it
know.
with the
Something
camera
wrong with
lens.
that shit.
I don't know. Yeah. It's funky.
Cece, are you getting close here?
Yeah. So also, have you gotten your Paul Atreides yet?
No, not yet. We're-
I think June and September is a ship date.
Well, those are two very different dates. What are you talking about? Like June to September they can ship
No,
it? Or?
I mean, yeah, between June and September. I'm sorry.
Okay,
June
okay.
and September was the ship. June, July, yeah, the 4 month. But remember, I
got you.
said to you, I was like right around the time Dune 2 drops. I'm telling you, man, everybody's gonna try to
Dune 2.
backtrack on that thing. That's beautiful.
we got-
Did you guys saw that statue last time, right?
Yeah,
Benjamin-
it's still available, and I
It is,
really want it,
it's-
but it doesn't go with anything I have, so it'd be its own thing, and I'm not that type of collector yet to buy
And Nathan and
individual
Benjamin here?
pieces.
Hell yeah.
It is a standalone. Yeah, it's. I mean, even if the problem is there's no other Dune pieces, so it's a standalone
I
piece no
know.
matter what, right? It's a
Yeah.
tricky piece to have for sure.
Unless they do more, obviously. I feel like the sequel's like about to come out. Isn't it soon?
Mhm.
Yeah, in November.
Okay,
November.
so Aaron asks a good question, right? And we talk about this all the time because remember there was a specific somebody who kept pushing that Queen Studios was getting the Star Wars license, and then the rumors picked up, and so Aaron says, as much as we're creeped out by them, would you get a 1/1 Han, Leia, Luke, etc.? I don't think so.
I would get a half scale. I would totally
Yes.
100% get a half scale.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah. Nice.
See that?
Yeah.
Like the Chewie at 1-to-1 is a great piece, but like a Han, I mean, we've seen the custom Leia. I mean, I'm sure Queen Studios can do better. It's not good. We see a lot of people have that custom Luke, and I'm sorry, I have no disrespect to the artist or anybody who owns it in their collection. It's weird. It's not that good, and it's a
Yeah.
good placeholder, but it's
Nice.
that looks
Ooh,
good.
that's,
Yeah.
that's cool.
I will say, I think it's super weird that there's no peg for him. He just literally sits on it.
Oh, he
And-
does.
Wow.
The skirt kind of makes me nervous because it's definitely like PVC. It's
Oh.
like a brittle plastic. But he has a lot more pieces to him than I thought. I thought he would just have arms, but he's got like I've got to put the jetpack together.
Hmm.
There's
Dude,
two
that's
pieces
cool.
I don't recognize.
Is it magnetized? Because I can see maybe there was a magnet under there to kind of hold him a little bit better, but
No.
The PVC should be flexible. If it was polystone, I'd be worried. Polystone is the most brittle material known to man.
Yeah, it looks awesome. I mean, Cece is
on the models.
does the body come as one whole piece?
Yeah, this is all one piece.
Okay.
And I've got his arm.
Yeah, which just kind of sits on his leg, right?
That's magnetized, yeah. Also,
Yeah, no. Remember somebody made that 1/1 Leia? Who was that?
is that the one
Oh.
on eBay?
No,
Was
the
that- Was that the
Holga Organa. You
yeah,
call her?
Holga Organa, she looked super German. Yeah, they didn't do a good
She
job.
had
with
the,
that
she had
one.
the Krispy Kreme.
the honey
So this
buns.
This is
It was
cool,
really
but I
cool.
also don't know what to do with it.
What is it?
What is
So
it?
they have wires, like
Yeah,
actual
well,
wires. But I don't know what these like. If I just put
with
them up,
power?
I don't remember what that goes to.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I guess you do just
like
kind of tuck them in and hide them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, that's kind of cool. Shove them in the hole.
That's
CC.
a nice 3-dimensional feature.
Mm-hmm.
Shove them in the hole. You don't see them.
Benjamin still looking for his pickup rescue.
Where did you get your Dark Knight cowl, CC?
It's a Noble collection.
I
Noble?
got to get that.
It's not expensive either. I think it was like 3 something.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
What's the other cow? Which one's the other cow? DC? Not the one. Yeah, that one. The one right there. Yep.
This one's Warner Brothers, and I think Factory Entertainment's supposed to do one, and I'll probably switch it out because this one is just PVC and there's not a lot of detail to it at all. This one's not a lot nicer. This, I think, displayed looks good, but once you look at it close up, you're like, there's not much to it.
Gotcha.
So I'd like something that actually looks like it's pieced together like patchwork leather.
Yep.
I don't know where this goes, actually. It's this holster.
Oh, it's still available. It's $400 now.
Yeah, it's. I think they call it special edition, which I think is their way of saying open.
Is there a peg on the side of his leg or something, CC? Or
I don't see one.
I'm going to bookmark this.
Oh, it's under his. Okay. I don't know how to do this without breaking something.
bro, we're just grooving tonight. Holy shit!
Where's my martini?
This is bad. This one's bad. Let's go to night driving.
There you go.
Jason, we need to get you to add some more of these, bro. Give us some nice like.
It worked well when we were looking at like the Dark Side video and he was like spinning. I love it.
Okay. Also, I'm like, I don't know what these are.
Hold on. Let's see.
They look like Fez hats, but they're silver.
That's probably well.
Are they pedal like feet?
I think they're supposed to sit on Jabba's dais, like the salacious, like the plates, the food, the cups.
Oh, they're like cups.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I got you. Just like
Shot glass.
extra things you can put on.
Yeah, and then I've got the jetpack pieces.
Nice.
That's cool, CC. That thing that looks great.
Yeah, it's big.
Yeah.
Dude, that
It's a
thing
big
is
piece.
huge.
Yeah.
I feel like all the throne statues are huge. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
They have to be.
they just can't get away from it.
My throne.
Remember when everybody went bananas for the Thanos on Throne at Sideshow did? That was like the grill for so long.
So what scale is it? Is that like 1/6?
Queen killed Thanos on throne. I was just thinking about that. Like, it was good.
So here's his gun.
Nice.
That's cool.
That looks nice.
But I don't know. I think it's like I've seen people put it like across his lap.
Yeah, I've seen it through across his lap too.
Wasn't it up against the like
Oh, just
leaning up
kinda up
against the
against the back?
chair? I can't remember how it actually was in the thing. Mob's asking what scale is better. What do we prefer? 1/3 or 1/2?
1/3 is more popular for sure, but it depends on your space. Like, if you have a theater room, half scale, for sure. Like, it needs a wall if you're gonna do a half scale collection.
I'm trying
That's how I feel.
with quarter scale, which is what this is.
Mm-hmm.
Just because it's more readily available. I think 6 scale is too small.
Yeah.
Because I actually debated the Queen Studios Joker, where he's in the police officer uniform.
Yeah.
And I've thought about it, but like, I don't know if it wouldn't fit in those two. I don't think I have space for it. So I'm trying to stick with just props in there. But yeah,
I've always really liked the Sideshow legendary scale stuff,
which is
half, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's just, to me that stuff looks incredible. It's just like, how do you have the room for that? Like, I get it. It's but man, pretty awesome.
It's
like I'm getting that.
It's grails pretty much.
Yeah.
I'm getting that Talon, and that's 1/3, but that's because I know no one's going to do a 1/4, and I think it's a beautiful statue anyway.
So, CC, here's a good question: if you have a bunch of quarter scale stuff and you get a 3rd scale statue, what do you feel like? It doesn't bother you at all? Like, does it matter to you at all? Or
I think what's going to help is the fact that it's going to be in a room with no other statues except for I scratched that. So it's going to be in the same room as like a life-size bust.
Yeah.
And maybe a quarter scale, but the quarter scale is going to go underneath the life-size bust, so it's not like it's going to be the like highlight of the display. So the way that's how I justified it in my head is the fact that it's going to be in a whole separate room. It's not going to be competed. It's not like I'm going to have a quarter scale next to a 1/4.
Right.
It's going to be in the same room, but they're going to be in opposite sides of the room and everything. Whereas this room, I have my Thrawn on throne on one side, which is quarter scale. I'm going to have this one on the other side. I'm going to have the Vader on throne. That's also quarter scale. So this room's only going to have quarter scale. That Joker bust is technically, that's 1/3. But it's a bust. And so, I knew I was going to display it closer up anyway. So I think it's almost like a forced perspective where, to me, it doesn't bother me that the face is larger than Christian Bale's face up there. So that's how, like, if I were to have like a row of statues, I think it would look crazy. To have like a 1/6, a quarter, a 1/3, like a half scale, like just that kind of stuff.
Yeah, like this looks weird until I can get my space fit up. We have 3rd scale statue or model kit, and then a 6th scale. Like that's not how it should go.
Yeah, it's just interesting because it's like, because you can also think about it like when you go to a museum, you know, they're not putting scales together. They're putting things that are part of the exhibit together. As in like, you know, you can have an exhibit that has all these different scales to it, but it's part of that exhibit versus, you know, with us, we think about it and we're like, well, we have to have like something that feels right on our shelves, but it's like, you know, when you go and see these things, and not these things, but like when you see a really something beautifully displayed in a museum, that's not what they do. They have all kinds of scales. They have all kinds of things going on.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I don't think it matters. I think if you're making a set, like a specific set of 3 or 5 characters, you should stick to a scale, because then that's a completionist thing. It's done. But I think if you just work with layers, like I might get into 1/6 at some point. I'm definitely getting some in-art 1/6 Lord of the Rings stuff. So if I put them above my 1/3 on a totally different display, I think it's fine. But I think it's really just like when you join them all together, then it's more like interior design questions, I guess.
Sure.
Of what just kind of goes together.
It's almost like this kind of conversation doesn't come up a lot with Star Wars, but at least with Batman, it's almost like asking someone, well, does a comic book piece look good with a realistic movie piece? And it's like, well, it's always going to look strange because you have like a likeness of Christian Bale next to like a Del Otto style Batman or Jim Lee style Batman. Like it's always going to look a little different because you're having something that's rooted in reality, and it's something that's coming from like a 2D inspiration. That I think is like more jarring than mixing scales sometimes.
Agreed.
And then Hazard asked,
it looks really busy.
Yeah, if I have any other quarter scales. I have maybe not soon. So I have like the Talon that's coming in that just shipped. I just pre-ordered the Tweeter Head Two-Face, so who knows when we're getting that. And then I'm waiting on, I actually just mentioned it to someone that they teased the Gabriel Del Otto Batman on Throne ages ago, Prime One did. And I'm like, I'm losing hope that they're not going to do it. And Chris with Batman Statue Collectors like, oh, they're absolutely doing it. So that's the other quarter scale statue that I would buy. I don't think I have any coming down the pipe Star Wars wise until that Vader on Throne, but I think that'll be early next year that we actually get it, the Iron Studios one. I also heard a rumor that Iron Studios is toying with the idea of redoing statues at a smaller scale.
Probably.
Prime one is, or
Smaller than 1/10?
Like Iron Studios is debating going backwards and doing some of the quarter scale stuff they've done in the past, but at a 10 scale.
Yeah, I was gonna say 1/10 would probably be the smallest because that's already tiny.
Yeah.
That's like a codable key. If it
1/10's very small.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't.
I could see that being
man.
cool. I wish they would step up their paint game a little bit, but they have a nice little niche.
That's also really hard to do at 1/10 scale, isn't it? I mean,
no, not really.
No.
Go look. Okay, look up putty and paint. Go to puttyandpaint.com. Putty, Putty, and paint. And you want to see some amazing stuff?
Putty
Yeah.
And paint.
These are all 1/10 or 1/24.
Really?
This might be like a segue into studio stuff. So I know Chris always thought it was dumb that like I really appreciated the stuff that was super small. I forget who did it, but someone did like a Star Destroyer that was not. It wasn't studio scale, but it was probably like this big, but it was super detailed, and it was literally like he was trying to replicate like a background shift that they made ones that small or something like that. I don't know if it was for like the prequels,
crazy.
But yeah, it was literally like maybe an inch long.
That's some patience right there to be able to model something that small.
I mean, is this is real we're looking at? These are pictures?
Yeah.
Or?
This is a paint job on a plastic model.
That's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah. This is what we're going for with all of our painted stuff in the future. I feel like this is something that's possible with a factory paint job if you take the time to work with the right people.
Yeah.
It is basically like painting a painting. You paint the light, you paint the shadows,
right?
You paint it exactly how it would look in the right atmosphere. This is what got me into model making back when I was a kid. Was I got into figure painting and doing this stuff. So this is my passion, is painting miniature figures like this.
And like the metal.
So they're 1/24, so 3 inches, up to the busts, which are 1/10. So just to think, you can get insane detail.
This is amazing.
So this is a whole industry. Yeah, this is a whole industry.
So let me ask, if you were to get, what's the price difference for a factory to be able to get this level of quality?
I am expecting an extra couple $100, and I think it's 100% worth it.
Yeah, because they charge by the layer. So
yeah, so I'd say most of the time you're going to pay $150, $200 at the most, maybe less. I bet you it's actually less people are paying for the factory paint jobs we're seeing right now. So this would cost you maybe $200 or $300 on top of your production cost. Instead of paying $50 to $100, you pay $200, $300.
And I'm sorry,
because instead of somebody taking 15 minutes to paint it, they're taking a day.
Yeah, that makes sense. So you have to compensate for that.
Yeah.
What were you gonna say, Justin? I'm sorry.
I was saying it's all about the layering. So I mean, they charge by the layers. So the more layers and stuff you have on a piece, the more they're going to charge.
Makes sense. I mean,
but I've also got some contacts with just custom painting groups that do paint for miniature games and stuff like that, and I'm hoping that maybe one of those groups where there's 30 or 40 people that just paint for a living, they'd be willing to take on a project and paint 500 pieces at a high level for a decent price, because that would be a really big project for them. So it's not even going to China and getting, a factory company just to do a better job. It's find the right people that you can also still get it done in a decent amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
But this to me, this is art in 3D. I want this for anything that we do in statues.
Yeah, this is crazy.
It's funny. It's something I never considered, but Shane, who's on a few YouTube channels, including Collectors Enabled, I think most of his statues are repainted. He's very notorious for getting a statue in and then just sending it out to get repainted.
Yeah, makes sense.
And he says there's, because that came up with, and we've been talking about a lot of stuff that's not Star Wars, so I feel totally fine mentioning this. It was someone who's very well known for getting custom statues. He got his Prime 1 Poison Ivy repainted in the flesh tone before they announced that they were reissuing a variant in the flesh tone. And everyone was like, "Oh, must suck to be that guy." And it's well, no, because his paint job, his custom paint job, is still going to be a much better quality than what Prime 1's going to produce in mass.
Yeah, it's just a matter of time and money. Like, where do you put your investment into it, or how much profit are you willing to sacrifice to get a product that's like X amount higher or better than something else? How do you want to make your name? We feel like it's better to take less profit and sell more to get this stuff out.
Well, and we've said that with General Giant too, where like we talk a lot of shit about a lot of their stuff, and I think what's exciting is like I'll see renders of the sculpts, because I think for some reason I think I'm like Facebook friends or in loops with like a few of the people who actually sculpt them.
Yeah.
And they look fantastic. And then you see them when they hit the website and you're like, what the fuck is this? Like it's
they're paying $25 for a paint job, and it's like, why?
Yeah. And it does a total disservice to the sculpt.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it would be very hard to be a sculptor and work and
look how
knowing that
tiny
your
this thing
pieces
is.
are going to get out.
She's on poker chips.
That's crazy. Look at that.
Look, it's a penny.
Yes, freaking crazy.
Is that like a little Pepsi bottle?
Yeah, a little Coke bottle, Pepsi bottle, machine gun.
That's like Chris took photos of the inside of his sand crawler, and he had like a
Is this wax?
That was cool.
I don't know.
Is this candle wax here? Or?
I'm going to assume that it's some kind of harder material than wax, just because I think it would die, but I have no idea how they did it. It might be either a hardenable plastic or plaster of some kind, and then you could put napkins or paper towels or stuff in there and then kind of sculpt it as it dries.
Yeah.
And then it turns hard.
That's freaking crazy, dude. This shot right here is freaking nuts, dude.
Yeah. Like, how did you do that flag?
Right.
The flag even has lighting.
The ripples and the stars.
But the flag has like dimension to it. It has like lighting and dimension.
Yeah, it has. And they paint the lighting in. It's insane.
It's funny. I don't have any of them. I think I left them all when I moved from Florida. But I used to try to recreate like Christian Wagner's Star Wars paintings, but I would do them like 2 inches by 2 inches, like on canvas. Where he has like the reflection in the eyes. I would see like just how small I can do it, because I feel like sometimes when you're working at such a small scale, you can almost like cheat some details, or it looks like you did a lot, but it really isn't. Like because it's smaller, it's the opposite. Like you have to kind of like fake it, as opposed to if it was any larger, that detail would have to be like really well rendered.
Yeah.
That's cool.
That's crazy, dude. Like the light shining through. Yeah, like the light shining through a window.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, it's good. Eddie with the light shining through the window. This is an interesting little site, huh?
It's crazy, dude.
Yeah, I get lots of inspiration from this site.
I think Sideshow just released a Iron Maiden statue.
Yeah, they did.
That's cool.
Speaking of you said you would talk about Lord of the Rings, Ethan. So did you see what's the guy who has like the bulbous nose? He's heavy. Do you know
Gimli?
Gimli?
Gimli.
How do I spell it?
Gimley.
I think
EY or VY?
I don't know.
I think it might just be Li. Gimli.
Yeah.
Oh, GIM.
So people are kind of pissed, and that's is that not Infinity? Who's doing that one?
The Lord of the Rings stuff?
Well, it's half scale.
Oh,
you saw the one I'm talking about, CC?
Infinity Studios.
Yeah. Infinity. Okay. So people are kind of pissed about that because they did the Legolas, which looked incredible, but they did two different versions where you can get the almost like Anne Hathaway, where it's like, oh, the 6 scale doesn't have rooted hair. I think it's PVC face or polystone face, and then the larger one, silicone with rooted hair. So the Legolas, it's like you can get fully sculpted hair, sculpted face, and then there's an option to get like the collector edition or whatever, which was silicone face rooted hair. With that Gimli, they're just doing silicone face rooted hair. They're not giving you a cheaper option.
They must not have sold very many at all.
Yeah, like if you planned on completing the line and you got the fully polystone Legolas, like you're gonna have to suck it up and get the silicone Gimli.
It's an amazing piece, though. I gotta admit. I mean, I'm not a Lord of the Rings fan, but this thing is amazing.
I was so glad when InArt came out with their stuff because I really wanted to start collecting the Infinity Studios ones, but I was like, so expensive.
Mm-hmm.
But Lord of the Rings does not work unless you can have the Fellowship. You have to get all 7. It's like, it's an endeavor.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a
Is anyone here getting the
deep rabbit hole.
Christian Bale Infinity Studios bust? Because I know Jason was really excited about that.
I kind of want that. I'll be honest. I kind of want that too.
I don't know if I'm going to get into busts. I love them. I think one of the things that I want to get into is helmets at some point.
Oh yeah, gotta get into helmets.
But I think half scale is the only other like size that I would really be interested in for a very specific room. I get my 3 Ironmen and something else.
I think they said they're canceling their half scale stuff for the Marvels. Like they did the Captain America, and I think they're like, yeah, no, it wasn't popular enough. We're not doing any of the.
Yeah, that would suck.
Mm-hmm.
I just hope that it's available. I really want Mark 1, Mark 2, and Mark 3. I don't even think they did a Mark 2, actually. So if they don't do a Mark 2, there's no point in getting Mark 1 and Mark 3.
Mm-hmm.
But that's all I want. I just want those 3 in half scale as like the side piece in the movie room or media room or whatever room I watch TV in.
Mm-hmm.
Or at least like Matt and Jason, you guys have either you have a movie room or you have plans to have a movie room. So I think the Paul Atreides could go in there and make sense. Like maybe the Christian Bale bus could make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. So far, I got. So Paul Atreides hasn't shipped yet. That's not shipping until possibly up to September. But I get the J&D Harley Quinn. The Night King hasn't shipped yet. Jon Snow has shipped. So yeah, I feel like I get a good mix of pieces to put up on display. I don't know, like the Game of Thrones, some Star Wars, the Harley, the J&D Harley, and then the Dune piece. I'd like to mix it up a little bit more, maybe something Back to the Future. I mean, I don't know, but I really want some high quality pieces. The thing is, like, it's tough, right? Because like Infinity and Queen Studios, like you said, seems to be like the go-to. But I don't want to do the busts. I just want to do something that's like 1/3, 1/4.
I mean, at least Queen does a good job with 1/4.
Yeah.
Like, even though they do a wide variety, you can always get good 1/4 if you're into the DC and Marvel stuff. I wish some of them would get some more licenses because I think in Asia it's cheaper to get them. Seems pretty easy.
And I know Queen toyed with I think they put up a poll on their website where they're like, or their Facebook where they're like, what other licenses should we try to get?
And I'd love
All
the Back
of
to
them?
the Future one where we get the DeLorean with Doc and Marty, like
That would be amazing.
a quarter scale or something like that, full like pinned hair and all that.
Damn, that'd be cool.
Yeah, because right now the only option is Hot Toy.
Yeah,
Which
the
there's
1 foot
nothing-
scale, right?
I mean, Hot Toy makes a really cool looking
Where's
one,
it?
but it's
1/6. I can't remember.
it's only
It's really
6.
big. Adam did a video on it. I was just like, I want that.
See, I'd either want them in their white,
The suits, the hazmat suits.
the hazmat suits, or the Western. Their Western
Western one would be
get ups.
cool. Western.
I like that one. I
watched a video that the
I
Novi
love
did
that
where he took all his Hot Toy, like the DeLorean, the figures,
Yeah.
full custom, the Western theme, and
So
yeah,
cool.
it came out pretty good too. But I don't feel like for the movie room, I don't feel like the 6 scale will jive well with the quarter scale and the 3rd scale.
Yeah, no, you gotta. Yeah.
Yeah, that is a thing.
Unless you just
I want to see.
because if you have the DeLorean where it's like, listen, I can't like a
That
third
does make a big
or
That's
half
basically
scale
a big
DeLorean
thing.
doesn't make
Yeah.
sense. So like if you had the Hot Toys version, it's like that could be your excuse as to why.
Yeah, I hear that.
Yeah, that would fit.
This is true. Why? Yeah, I mean, you're paying $3,000 for a half scale. Why not pay $6 or $7 grand and just go the whole 1/8 scale?
Because you can
But if
save
you're
$3 grand,
gonna pay
but
$7 for a sideshow statue, you might as well pay $5 and build the life-size Boba from parts from scratch.
yeah.
Save yourself.
What would you guys think of Blade Runner stuff?
Woo!
I like Blade Runner.
Jason loves Blade Runner.
Yeah.
Blade Runner's my shit.
I really want to do both cars and then some statues.
Yeah.
For real?
But I think
Yeah.
if we did something like that, we would probably want to go after a license. I don't know if we want to do. We could do the vehicles custom, but
Yeah.
to do the statues correctly.
If you did a vehicle, I'd have a crisis. Because that's something I notoriously am like, oh yeah, studio scale models are cool and stuff, but then I'm like, it's not for me, or I wouldn't display it or whatever. But it's like, holy shit, like that. And I was drooling over like the Fifth Element, like the taxi and like the detail on it. If someone did something like that, that would be
Yeah, that'd be another one that would be
Yeah,
cool.
we'll do that.
Just that vehicle.
Maybe some Firefly stuff. I don't know.
That'd be cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah, there's definitely a few things outside of the Star Wars realm that we'd love to get into, at least for vehicle stuff. Not to mention endeavoring into statues.
Yeah.
Dude, what a crazy thing that would be to get into. Just the amount of like stuff that you guys would have to deal with getting into statues. Holy shit.
I know. I mean, we've got good sculptors, so we've got
Yeah.
people that can make the stuff. I think it's really like I need to have more employees to handle other things to allow me to really focus in on those on the construction and the paint,
Sure.
because it would take a lot of time, a lot of back and forth for those. So much harder than just doing castings as far as just
Absolutely.
communication. But I would love to do it. I want to change the game and the way that collectibles are enjoyed. I just feel like there's so much more to be offered.
No, I agree. Which you guys are talking about the display of them as well, right? You mentioned that, and yeah, there's a lot that can be worked on for sure. Make
We'll
it better.
see. We'll see how time goes.
Yeah, absolutely.
This actually seems real quick. Hold on, talk about Blade Runner. This actually seems very attainable. Like you were mentioning a license, so I know it's been on the what's called Alcon Entertainment, but since 2021, they basically hired out Striker Entertainment for any licensing to Blade Runner. So that's a strong possibility.
Like, you guys have contacts with Striker Entertainment?
I've engaged with them a few times in the past. I had no idea that they had the Blade Runner license, but it says here that Alcon hired them in 2021. So for the last 20 months, July 7th. So for the last year and a half almost, they've been doing the license for Blade Runner.
So I guess the trick on something like that, I know we're doing this publicly, but the trick is, do you usually you provide a prototype to show and say we can actually perform what we're telling you we could do. But on something like that, you want it to be super accurate. So I don't want to dig through the research and find this and that on the vehicles. I want to get the material from the licensee if I'm going to pay for it, and then make the cars. So it's like, how do you go about proving that you could do what you could do for like the business presentation side? These are some of the things that we don't understand is from the small side of just growth in the company. Because if I was doing a Star Wars thing, we'd make the Star Wars thing. We send them a prototype and say, okay, we want to get a license for this. But that's a little different.
You can't show them a Slave 1 and go, hey, this is much harder to make than your stupid car.
Yeah,
like
I don't know.
It's true.
Yeah, I guess we could. Yeah, we can always show like this is what we can do to show like our quality, and then like, would you be cool with us doing one of your vehicles? So
exactly.
I don't know if props are the same thing, but like I always get kind of excited when I see a company putting out anything that's like not for a license that I thought was not stagnant's not the right word, but for like Blade Runner, it's like there's no movie coming out in the next few years. Like why now? But there's a prop company. What's it called? Oh my gosh,
Normal.
Totally escaped me. But they did a few different props, like a Batarang for the Batman. they did the grapple gun from '89 Batman, and that's another one that Adam Savage reviewed. And it's completely machined metal. There's no plastic on it at all. And it was right after that one they came out with the original Blade Runner blaster.
Yeah.
Decker's
Yeah, that
blaster.
looks fantastic.
So I don't know if it's like, hey, like we did this Batman one and it looks really great, and that's also licensed. So
I'm sure some of it depends on the size of the licensing company and stuff. And yeah, you're right. It's like to me, it's one of the best classic sci-fis, but in the great realm of things, there is not more stuff coming out supposed to know of. So
this would be cool too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Mad Max. Yeah. But if we did it, like I want to do the main stuff from both films because I think they did a good job with both of them enough to say that's your completion set is you get the characters and the vehicles. The mains for both films would be amazing.
That'd be sick. It is surprising that no one did anything for Mad Max. Like there's not even the new stuff. There's nothing like what did they make any?
I think they made some toys. But they're like,
there's a reason.
Which is funny because it's a toy for a movie that's not a kids movie.
Right, I know.
By any stretch of the imagination.
Right.
Yeah, because you could make some killer statues and some really cool looking
ones. Yeah.
I would love to do a Tom Hardy something at some point. That would be fun.
I don't know if it's like, did they expect to do another one?
I think they
doing
did.
Another one.
They are doing another one. Yeah.
They're doing what's her
totally
name?
different characters.
It's the chick, isn't it?
Furiosa.
Oh, is it just Furiosa's?
Yeah, I think it's Furiosa's situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the cinematography on that film was intense. So good.
Ridiculous.
So good.
That and the color correction afterwards, where they actually like brought out all the reds and the blues and the just.
I love the behind the scenes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Jay, do you want to finish this off?
Yeah, sorry.
I got the dance music on for you, so.
I was falling down the Blade Runner rabbit hole. Yeah, I was searching. I just thanks everybody for hanging out tonight, for joining. It turned out well. I mean, I know we didn't have a format, like I said, but we had quite a few people joining and watching, so I appreciate that. Ethan and Justin, as always, thank you guys for taking the time. And thanks for hanging back, too, and talking shop with us. But just to plug it one more time, go over to merlinmodels.com if you're interested to back the fire spray. And again, a few options. You get a payment plan. You can get it built and painted. And let's get this backed. CC Matt had a good chat, good time.
Yeah, it was fun.
Great to see the statue. CC, it looks good behind you.
Thank you.
It's interesting. We're actually in discussion. Jason and I are actually in discussion about doing another show where it's opposite of group therapy. So we do group therapy, and then the next week we'll do another show where we actually do more of just talking like this. Like we just have a good time just chatting, and we talk about movie news. We talk about like interesting things that we're seeing out there, and it's less about the collectible side of things because that's kind of the group therapy thing, and we all enjoy that. But it would be nice to have
interests. Yeah, just go over interests.
Yeah, just something else that we can kind of chat about and go over and play background music and just have a good time.
Talk about Blade Runner.
Exactly. So yeah, guys, thanks everyone in the chat for hanging out and just kind of hanging with us through all the craziness and whatever we chatted about, and really appreciate it. And we'll end up, we'll see you on the next one.
Have a good night.
See you guys.
Peace out.
Bye.